It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name is Bart Hansen. I'm here with the Tuckster, Dave Tuckman. It's Monday. That normally means limit hold'em, but we're actually going to be doing a $200 restricted buy-in, no limit hold'em game. The blinds for this game are 3 and 5, but I'm getting word that there are a lot of chips on the table, Dave. So that means it's going to play different, right?
Well, definitely. A lot of implied odds in this game.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get to the table.
Let's do it.
And after you run down the names, it's going to be me whining about how some of the other casinos in L.A. have horrible no-limit games and how the Bike has the best no-limit games. So go ahead and do that thing.
Well, the blinds here, once again, are 3 and 5. We've got Peter Greystoke. That's Mr. Greystoke there in seat 1. And he's got over $500. We've got seat 2 there. That's William. And he also has got probably close to $500. Seat 3, we've got Steven. Oh, and there's the Magician, Steven. And he's got $900.
That's not Antonio. It's Steven.
The Magician. Seat 4, we've got Aaron Waiton. And he's got about $600 or $700 there. Got some good money in front of him. Seat 5 is Adam. Adam's got about $300 in front of him. Seat 6 is Dan. Dan, the man, is a little short. He's only got about $180 in front of him. Seat 7 is Miklos, and he's also got about $150. Seat 8 is Charles. Charles, a pretty solid player, pretty straightforward there. He's Charles, and that's $300 in front of him. And seat 9 is Steve. Not there right now, obviously, but he's got about $200 in front of him. So we got a lot of money on the table. Should be a lot of action here.
Well, we're going to open up here. We got aces here for seat 5. He's going to bet on this flop, and seat 8 has called him with pocket deuces. And actually, seat 8 has raised here with this board.
Wow.
Queen, 7, 5, 2 deuces.
So Charles is picking the wrong spot to make a move here, huh?
Yep. And Adam called. The turn's a 6. Adam checks. So Charles raised Adam on the board, on the flop, Queen 7, 5, 6, and now Charles is going to check right behind. The river's a 10.
And is Adam going to throw in a little value bet here now?
No, he's not. He checked it. But look at this. Pocket deuces is going to bet. He's going to bet 100 here. The guy popped to Adam on the flop. He checked behind him on the turn, and now he's betting the river.
Adams played these aces really passively, huh?
What could the guy have raised Adam with on the flop here?
That would have gotten there now.
Maybe that would have gotten there now. Maybe... Boy, players aren't necessarily advanced at this level, Dave. Sometimes you see somebody check behind the turn with a good hand in position, either to induce a bluff or control pot size. Mm-hmm. I don't really see this at that level all that much.
I'm trying to think, maybe he's got Queen 10. He had top pair. He raised him one time. Didn't really like his kicker when he got called, and now he had 2 pair.
Yeah, but what I was going to say was that normally somebody with top pair might bet that again at this level.
I'm all in.
Wow, and Adams check raised all in here on the river. Well, this hand's played out a little bit strangely. He's check raised all in here on the river.
After showing no strength whatsoever.
Yeah, and this pot's going to be pretty big here. I mean, what can Charles beat here that Adam would have called the flop with? Adam bet the flop, and he called the raise.
I think they're just trying to get airtime.
I mean, Charles betting the river. Do you put Adam on like pocket 9s or pocket 8s or something like that and think, well, maybe I can get him off that hand?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he has
you're talking about really advanced play here. We are playing $200 no limit.
No, right. I'm just thinking when you raise him on the flop, you go, okay, maybe the guy's got ace king. Well, then why are you betting the river? If you're betting the river, obviously you're betting it either for value or because you think you need to bet it.
And Charles folds. And seat 5's going to take down a big pot there. That's like a $300 or $400 pot. Adam there to start off the night.
Thanks for reminding me, obviously. It's a $200 game.
Yes. Well, sometimes, again, you know, there are different techniques to control pot size, and I think it's an issue that we haven't necessarily addressed on the show all that often, but it gets more and more important as you get deeper and deeper. It might not necessarily apply to this game, but you actually might check the turn with a hand that you think is good because you don't want to be check raised. You might have a redraw on the turn. You might not necessarily know if you have the best hand now, but you don't want to face a gigantic check raise. So you might check the turn and maybe just give a call to the river.
That's a good point, Bart.
He's going for that airtime. I'm telling you.
Ace king here for seat 2, ace queen for seat 6. That's Dan.
I just want to say hi to Fuji the Fish on 2+2. Fuji actually sent me a private message that I never got to. I actually hadn't read it for about a week, and at this point it's almost not relevant. But just wanted to say hi to Fuji.
Well, we had a raise here by Dan, and we got a call on the button with 8-9 of diamonds. Ace king in seat 2 is going to call, and 4-6 up front is going to call. And no one has a pair here, 5-7-7. See if Dan continues with the pre-flop raise. He's going to bet.
Well, Steven's open-ended. It is a paired board. And
Well,
Peter's
he's
got a
got
gut shot.
Yep. And Peter's going to call with the gut shot, backdoor diamond draw. And like you said, Steven's open-ended here. Wow, William peels off here with ace-king, Dave. Unbelievable.
Fine, everybody's in there.
Wow.
Now, at this point, with all these callers, do you kind of suspect somebody has a 7 and is sandbagging a little bit?
I would have thought so. Turns a 10. And ace-king is still good right now.
Yeah, and Peter is now open-ended also. Got a lot of cards to dodge.
And it gets checked around. And the river's a 10. And William and Dan are going to chop it up if we see a showdown. 10s and 7s with an ace kicker. I want to say that the pot's about $230 right now.
Now, does anybody take a little shot? I mean, can ace high call this?
I think everyone might just chicken out. Well, Dan's going to bet. And now William with ace-king from up front. Let's see if he makes the call.
And he does have to worry about Steven behind him.
He's not going to call, and Dan's going to take it down.
Great bet by Dan there. Really great bet.
Unbelievable.
He only throws in $75 into a $230 pot. And instead of splitting it, he wins the entire thing.
Right. What I was going to say was that I played the Omaha event, obviously, yesterday at that other casino.
Yeah.
I actually had the absolute worst thing that could have possibly happened to me, Dave. I've heard stories about this, read stories about this with cash players who play tournaments. It's never really happened to me before, where there's such a juicy side game that you really want to gamble it up in the tournament so that you can really bust out or accumulate a lot of chips. I wanted to get out of there within 3 hours. There were 40-minute levels, or I wanted to win the thing. And what ended up happening was there were 270 players. They paid off 27 spots. I finished 32nd. I played 10 hours and made no money. And I was only able to play the side game for about 45 minutes. The absolute worst-case scenario. Limped around here.
Aaron's still good here with 5s. And he's going to bet and take it down.
He bets and takes it down.
I guess you either weren't good enough for what you're looking for, or just too good to get knocked out.
Well, you know what it was I was actually playing it. You know, I was gambling it up. I mean,
playing it almost Shirley-esque.
Well, the thing with Omaha though too is Omaha is not going to be as clear cut as Hold'em, because the card values, you're never going to be so much of a favorite over somebody else with 4 cards to come. Button moves over here in C3. I mean, for example, I would 3-bet a guy all in with ace, king, queen, 5. And he's got, you know, ace, queen, jack, deuce, 3. And, you know, heads up, Dave, those hands run pretty close in value.
Yeah.
So it's not like Hold'em where you're going to see aces against deuce 7 offsuit. Just with 4 cards, you know, the hands really run.
Well, it's rare that you get a hand that's so badly dominated in Omaha, right?
Right.
I mean, obviously you can think of some that are badly dominated, but...
Well, for example, if you had 4 of a kind, four of a low card, that's obviously... But those are pretty much the only ones, 3 and 4 of a kind.
Right.
and pretty much any ace, with a low card isn't going to be that much of a dog over any other hand.
Well, because, I mean, generally speaking, with 4 cards, you're going to have some live cards.
Yeah. King 9 deuce here was limped around with a couple clubs. And Shirley actually got busted out early. I think she was kind of having a rough go of it in the live game, though.
Oh, was she playing the live game with you?
Well, she was actually ahead of me. She had been playing for a while.
Okay.
Now, we had a bet here by Steven. He bet here with bottom pair, and Queen Jack called. The turn's a 7 of diamonds. We're heads up here, Dan against Steven. So Dan called with a gut shot. And now Steven's picked up a flush draw, and he's going to bet with 9-5 of diamonds. Turns a 7 of diamonds. And he takes it down. Button moves over here to seat number 4. Good old 9-5 of diamonds. And the button moves over there to seat 4. Pocket 8's over here for seat 2. Limp. But what I was going to say was, and I'll get to it after the hand, in terms of no limit, that other casino across the street, I mean, there is absolutely no game worth playing below what is their $600 min buy-in, which is their 10-20 game.
Yeah.
We'll get to this in a second here. Limped around here. 6 ways. Ace 3 king. We got ace 4 of clubs in C5. He's got top pair. He's going to come out and bet with the weak ace. He's going to bet $10.
Charles has got an ace also. He also has a weak ace, ace 6.
Charles in seat 8. We don't have the cards up here. He's going to make the call.
And you imagine this will probably get... No, well...
Wow, C2 is going to call here with William with pocket 8s. Wow.
William's going to peel one off
and
here?
And Steven calls with king 10.
I mean, Steven's call makes a little more sense. I mean, he's at least got a pair out there.
Turns a 5. And now Charles has got a diamond draw. And now it gets checked to Charles, and he's going to bet. And he's going to take it down there, Davey. He's got top pair in the nut flush draw, and he takes it down.
Nice bet by Charles.
Looks like he pushed all in there. And the button moves over here to seat 5. What I was going to say was that they have 10-20 no limit, Dave.
Right.
Which is basically a $600 minimum buy-in, okay?
Which is equivalent to the Best Casino's $1,000 minimum buy-in.
That's their only unrestricted buy-in game. There's no game that's less than that. That's an unrestricted with less blinds.
Right.
The next game down from that is a 5-10 game, like our 500 unrestricted game. But it's a $400 max buy-in.
Yeah, it's
40 big bets.
Right. Well,
or 40 times the big blind. Excuse me.
And you know, obviously we're biased. We like the Bicycle Casino, but in this case, it's just an easy way to see it.
And the drop in that game is $5. The drop in our 300 to 500 game, which is 5 blinds, is $3.
Yeah.
So we have 2 games below that unrestricted level. We've got 5-10 unrestricted and 5-5 $500 max restricted.
Well, I mean, I just played in the 3 to 5 game, and I always buy into the maximum when I play in that game. So I always buy in 500. The blinds are only 5-5, so I have 100 times the big blinds.
Right.
It really gives me a lot of playability there. I can't imagine having a game where I only have 40 times the buy-in.
Oh, in a 5-10 game. I mean, who wants to gamble it up with, $400? Now, Steven's going to come out and bet here. The board is king 5 deuce, couple clubs. Was limped around. He's going to bet, and seat number 5's got 2 pair. He's got top 2 pair, and he's going to raise.
Now, Steven doesn't have much of a kicker here, obviously. He's got king 3. You'd imagine Steven should be able to get away from this pretty easily.
Actually, he just looks like he just called there on the button.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah. And C2 is going to call. William with ace 9. He's got the nut club draw. Here we go to the turn. The turn's a jack. We've got king 3, king 5, and ace 9 in the hand. And now Steven's going to shut down with king 3.
Yeah. Correctly so. You bet with king 3. You get called in 2 spots. Okay, maybe you put one of your opponents on a flush draw.
And now Adam's going to push here. He's going to bet.
And it looks like he's betting about $100, $125.
And he's going to bet $125
into about a $150 pot. And William's going to call.
Wow, was it 125 bucks there? It was only $60 there. And here we go to the river. The river is an ace. And now Williams got top pair.
Yeah, is that going to get William in trouble?
Adam's still good here with two pair. And it looks like
William put out a little bet there.
Yeah, he's going to throw a little bet out here.
And, Adam's hand is not strong enough here really to raise. I think all he can do is call.
And Adam's going to call.
When you have king 5 on a board like that, you really can't raise that, can you? I mean, you've got to be scared that your opponent had ace 5, ace deuce, ace jack. I mean, well, not ace jack doesn't make that much sense. Obviously, why is he calling the flop? But the ace certainly could have made him 2 pair, which would kill his king 5. Once again, we are live at the bike here. I'm David Zuckman here with Bart Hansen. It's Monday, but we're playing No Limit Hold'em tonight. Blinds are 3 and 5. It's a restricted buying game, but we have a lot of money on the table right now. Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, I'm going to guesstimate here at about $3,600, maybe $3,800. And seat 6 here is going to raise it up. Pocket jacks.
Yep, pocket jack. Pocket jack.
And he makes it $20. He makes it $20 to go there, and gets called in 2 spots.
Yep, 2 spots. Here we go to the flop. Wow, set of jacks there. Ace, jack, 10, couple spades.
Yeah. Now, seat 1 has got pocket deuces. William is not in the hand with queen 7. And Adam has got a gut shot straight draw, but no spades.
And Dan's going to come out and bet here.
Yeah, I imagine this is probably just going to go fold.
He bets 60.
Not really the flop you're looking for when you have king 9 of diamonds.
Yeah, Peter's pretty solid. He gets away, obviously, from pocket deuces, and Adam's going to get out of there with the king 9 of diamonds. And Dan's going to take it down. Boy, Dan's really done. He was on the show last week, Dave. He booked like about a $900 win in a 200 game, which is great.
Anytime you can pretty much make 400% on your money,
yeah,
it's not bad.
And again, one of my pet peeves about No Limit games, as I try to explain it to the floor men here and some of the other people that organize the games, Dave, is that a No Limit game is defined by the blind size. I had this interesting situation happen to me. I was in a 3-5 game, which is 5-5 blind game this afternoon, and they wanted to change it to a 500 game.
Right.
And people were like, well, okay, you can change it to the 500 game, but you're not changing the blind size, are you? These were people that were sitting in the game. And I was like, no, the game is defined by the blind size. I think sometimes people get a lot confused about buy-in and what that means.
Right. I mean, you could change it. I mean, if they wanted to make the 3-5 and say, okay, we're going to make it an unrestricted buy-in game.
Right,
sure.
Right. We had a raise here by C5. He's got king, queen, $20 raise, and king, jack out of position is going to call. So king, jack is dominated here, Dave. Ace, 6, deuce, couple clubs.
Well, neither player is going to like this flop. So let's see what happens. Now, William also does have a king of clubs. He's got the backdoor flush draw.
Oh, did you check? Okay.
And C2's checked, and it looks like Adam's going to come out and bet.
Kind of a smallish bet. $25, but that's going to be enough to take it down.
Yep, there you go.
Once again, if you have any questions or comments for us, advice, criticisms, praise, please email us at live@thebike.com. That's live@thebike.com.
You can also follow a thread that started on the internet. You can go to 2plus2.com, spelled out, click on forums, World Poker Tour, and other televised tournaments. And we're right there. You know, the other thing, too, about long tournaments, now I played a $500 tournament. I think it was 40 or 45-minute levels.
Right. How many chips did they start? Yeah.
They actually started with 2,500 chips, but the blinds were 50, 100 to start. So, you know, it actually takes a lot out of you.
Oh, of course.
You know, it takes a lot out of you, and...
Well, it's much different than in a cash game, and we always talk about the difference between cash games and tournaments. In the cash game, you can get up for 15 minutes and go take a break and go to the bathroom. And,
you can take mental breaks, pretty much, you know.
Well, pretty much you go outside, you go for a smoke, you go make a phone call, and your mind is on break.
Right.
But in a tournament, even when you jump up to go to the bathroom, you're pretty much running to the bathroom,
Yep.
doing your business, washing your hands, and running back.
We have four-way action here. It was limped around. Flop is 10-6 deuce, and seat number 3's got bottom 2 pair here. And he checks it, and Jack 10 from seat 4 is going to bet. He bets 30. So Aaron's going to bet, and Steven is going to check raise here with deuce 6. Bottom 2 pair, and he's going to take it down. There it is.
And he shows.
Wow, look at that. The turn would have been another 10. Counterfeited his hand.
Yeah, it would have
given,
killed Steven's hand, obviously.
Would have given Aaron trip 10s.
That Jack 10. Where you bet.
I mean, are you capable? I remember when I was talking to a couple of tournament players, and they would talk about, especially in the long tournaments that are 2, 3, 4 days long, they would say it's actually really important to figure out when you can almost check out. Almost kind of not even lose your focus, but in a way of just kind of like rest your mind for 5 minutes at a time.
Well, Dan Harrington was talking. I remember listening to an interview with him where he said he chose specific times, and obviously those marathon main event sessions where he didn't pay attention.
There you go.
Because his mind was older. He just couldn't do it.
Pocket 10s here
Yeah, pocket 10s here
for
for
seat 7, but seat 6, Dan is actually raised up to $20.
Yeah, he raised it with ace, deuce of diamonds. Seat 7's going to call with pocket 10s. Seat 8's in there with pocket 7s. So here we go. And the other thing that Dan Harrington also said, Dave, was that he would always be surprised if any main event winner in the near future is going to be over 50 years old, I think he said, too.
Well, it's very difficult when those events go 5, 6 days.
Yeah. King 7-5. We got a set of 7s over here for Charles. And Dan's not going to make the continuation bet.
Now, look, good flop for Charles, but not a great flop.
Yeah.
He really shouldn't get paid too much here.
Miklos checks, and now Charles is going to bet.
Obviously, it's not a flop that connected with either one of the other players. And with a king out there, it should save Miklos.
Well, Miklos, some people would bet that. I mean, you get the pre-flop raiser who checked to you. You're looking at one overcard. You got one guy behind you. And look, he's actually going to check raise all in. I was thinking Miklos was going to bet the flop. He check raises all in, and he is going to need to get lucky here because Charles has a set.
Yeah.
He needs a 10 here and a 10 only. And it doesn't come, and Charles is going to take it down there with a set of 7s. There you go. Now, the other thing, too, about sometimes, smaller blinded games, and sometimes I almost feel like, sometimes I feel when you play in terms of game selection, my difference, I really love the 300 to 500 game here because you can easily book thousands of dollars in a week wins. What I mean by easily is if you're a solid player and you're paying attention to the game. Whereas the 5-10, there's a little bit more variance because you're playing a little bit higher. Obviously, there's more money to be won. But if you're really deep and the blinds are small, that's a game that I really love.
The 3 to 5 game.
Well, just a game where you're really deep and the blinds are small.
Right. I mean, our 5-10 blind game here, no limit game, actually really plays the same way because oftentimes people will have $4,000 or $5,000 in front of them.
Right.
And the blind's only 5-10.
Right.
You go, wow. I mean, you could have 200, 300, 400 times the big blind.
Seat 8 limped in here with pocket 10s. And we're just going to see limped in the blinds here. Here we go.
10s are going around, huh?
Yep.
Flop of King 9-4.
Steven's got a flush draw. And Seat 8's going to bet $10. And Steven's going to call here with the Jack 3 of diamonds.
Yeah, Aaron is out of the hand.
Turns a 5. 20. And now Steven's going to throw a little bit of a stop bet out here. He bets 20.
Nice bet here by Steven.
And it looks like it's going to work. Now, again, usually against more advanced players, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that bet, but Charles is going to fold.
Well, that's a nice bet by Steven. It really is because you've got to remember it's the last person in position to bet, which doesn't necessarily mean he has anything. He could just be betting his position. And by betting into him, first of all, you're controlling the size of the bet on the turn with your draw.
Right.
If you get called, you still have a lot of outs.
Right.
And, hey, there's always a chance your opponent might fold a better hand.
One of the other techniques that I've noticed is, I think we've talked about this a couple of times on the show, Dave, is kind of the reverse stop bet, especially if you are new to a game where the players don't know who you are and you're playing rather tight. Reverse stop bet, what I mean by that is making it look like you're putting out a stop bet, but having a really big hand, like something like 2 pair, and hoping that a guy thinks you're weak.
Right. And obviously, you've got to make sure that your opponent you're playing against is sophisticated enough to kind of see that.
We have four-way action. I think it was raised by seat number 9 with seat 1 with ace king, and the flop was queen jack 8. It's going to get checked over to Peter.
Yeah, I think queen. I want to say jack 10 is the best hand here.
Well, Peter's going to bet 40 here.
It is. Charles has got the best hand here.
Well, you wonder if Charles is going to get involved with this hand. He calls with middle pair.
He's also got a gut shot straight draw.
Yep. Peter's going to need to catch a 10 here, an ace or a king. The turn's a 7. It's a heart. So we're heads up, jack 10 against ace king. Peter takes a card, and the river's a 7, and jack 10 is good here. Charles checks again, and I think Peter's just going to give this one up. And Charles is going to take it down there with the pair of jacks.
Take it down, Charles.
You know, it's funny. I was watching Mo, who was over there. He played in a super satellite to the main event, the LA Poker Classic, and got a seat last night.
Yeah,
so
super satellite.
Congratulations to him.
For just a couple $100, he got in.
Yep.
Pretty impressive. They awarded 2 seats. It's always nice to know about a month before the event, knowing you're already in.
Right.
Obviously, you and I will play in the World Poker Tour Invitational.
That's right.
Which I'm really excited about.
Me too. Button moves over here to seat 4.
Button is in seat 4, and a bunch of limpers here. But the big blind is going to raise it up. And he's raising it up with ace-6 of hearts. And he gets called. And he's going to probably get called in every spot here. Now, it's interesting. This might be, some people go, well, what's the point of making a mini raise out of position with ace-6 of hearts? Well, I guess if you have that many people calling, you can make the argument that he's raising for value with 5 players, with actually 6 players in there.
Well, 8 deuce 6 here, and it looks like ace-6 is good right now.
Actually, Peter's flopped a set.
Oh, that's right. Bottom set there for Peter. Dan's going to bet 30 here. Let's see how Peter's going to play it in seat 1. He's got bottom set, 8-6 deuce on the flop.
Now, he only raised, you got to think about it, he only rated $15 more out of the big blinds. It's hard to put him on an overpair. You know, I mean, if somebody had jacks, queens, kings, or aces, you'd almost think they'd probably make it $30 or so.
See how Peter's going to play it. Looks like he's going to just call. Now, a great card for him would be an ace or 6, or maybe even a heart. The turn's a queen. That's not going to help.
Yeah, there's no draw out there. Now, if you're
Dan's going to bet again, though.
If you're Dan, you look at that board there. You know, the only thing you can put your opponent on maybe is 7-9.
Dan bets 40 here. And Peter is just going to call again, just in position. Here we go to the river. And the river here is a queen. Peter fills up. And now Dan's going to check.
Yeah, the problem here is Dan can't even beat an 8. Can't beat 8-7. He can't beat 9-8.
And the funny thing is that, you know, you might get a call from someone with ace-6 if you think the guy's betting a busted draw here.
Well, this is one of those cases where, if you look at it, would Peter bet, say, 8-7 here or 9-8? Probably not. He's either going to bet a monster or he's going to be betting a bluff, a missed hand.
So Peter bets here. Looks like he bet 75, and Dan's thinking about it again. Would this guy bet a bluff? And we saw a couple hands ago, Dave, that he did just check down ace-king, if you remember, about 2 or 3 hands ago.
I mean, the question here is, would Peter bet 8-7 here? 9-8 for value.
And Dan looks like he's going to make the call.
Yeah.
And Peter's going to show set of deuces.
Yeah, full house here. Deuces over queens.
Yeah.
Deuces full of queens.
Great hand, man.
Dan's not going to win this one.
And Dan shows the ace-6. Surprising.
He didn't have to show it.
Yeah, those hands are really tough to play out of position. I mean, I know what you mean, like raising for value, but raising for value with ace-rag suited, even so, I want to play my draws in position. That's why I don't come in a lot of times with low pocket pairs and suited connectors in the first few positions, because they're really difficult to play.
I got to agree with you. I mean, I'm looking for excuses not to play out of position.
Because of
Button is moved over to seat 5. Small blind is $3. Big blind is $5. And under the gun is actually Charles. In seat 8, he's first to act.
Pocket queens over here for Charles under the gun.
Right.
He's just going to limp. I was going to say, I don't know if this table is the type of table that I would just limp in with big pairs with. And look at this, seat number 9 also in second position. He's got ace king and he limps. So a couple monsters played relatively slow. And everyone's going to limp around here. 6-way action.
So that's $30 pot.
Queen, 9-10. Top set here for queens. Does he want a slow play? Anybody with a jack would be open-ended.
And somebody does have a jack there. Seat 5. He's got a jack.
Seat 8's going to come out and bet here.
35?
I mean, some big hands out there, too. Ace-king out there. Queens out there.
Ace-king gets rid of it. So Charles is bet here with top set. Adam's thinking about it with the jack-6. He's not going to get involved.
2 clubs out there. He's got 2 spades in his hand. He doesn't want to get involved.
And I don't think he's going to get a call here from anyone.
No, it doesn't look like it.
I think we have a new player coming into seat 7. That's Joseph coming in to seat 7. So did you watch some football this weekend?
I did. I got a chance to watch most of both games.
Yep.
Some real good football, actually. I was impressed. With Pittsburgh looked great.
Slice it from under
I got to tell you, Big Ben there, Ben Roethlisberger, really showed me a lot. Only his second season in the NFL, but
let me ask you, do you know what the... all right. I'm going to tell you that I meant to look and see what the line was, and I have not. So I'm going to speculate what it is. I really have no idea what it is. And I'll get to this after this hand. We'll get a raise here. What I would set the line at.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what the line is, by the way?
I do.
Okay.
So depending on what you set the line at, maybe I'll take a bet with you. Get a raise here out of seat 3. Steven made it $30 to go with pocket 9s.
I'll give you a range of points I think it will be in. Ace queen here. Seat number 9 is going to call. Here we
got
go.
a $70 pot.
Heads up. 9's against ace queen. 9's got an overpair to the board.
That's a pretty ugly flop for ace queen there, too. Ace queen red. Got 8-6-6.
And Steven's going to bet 50, and he's going to take it down. Okay. What I was going to say was that if you were to tell me, that it was going to be Pittsburgh and Seattle in the Super Bowl before the playoffs start, I would have thought that Seattle was probably over a touchdown favorite. The fact that Pittsburgh has beaten Indy in Indy and in Denver, I think that Seattle is a favorite between even and a field goal. Am I right?
That'd be great. Can I? I'll take that bet, and I'll take Pittsburgh. Can I do that?
Is Pittsburgh favored?
Pittsburgh is favored by the opening line was about 3.5
really?
to 5
wow.
points.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and right now it's settling in about 3.5.
Wouldn't you agree with me for what I said, though? I guess it's a momentum issue.
It's your action. In the small blind, you get 3 in, but it's 50.
We had a raise here by seed 5, ace, queen,
Conventional
and diamonds.
wisdom, you'd say, okay, wow, the number 1 seed versus 6 seed. But you've got to look at, wow, Pittsburgh's now won 7 straight.
Right.
In those 7 straight, they've beaten Denver and Denver. They've beaten Indianapolis and Indianapolis. So,
4 players.
4-way action here.
This is a hot night.
Seat 5 raise with ace, queen, and he's hit top pair. Ace, deuce, 8. Now, seat 6, Dan's got ace 10 with the 10 of spades. Is he going to get involved?
he might. I mean, neither player can really love the flop, can they?
Watching a car accident. Right. Which is pretty fun.
And he's going to come out and bet here with the ace, queen.
And Dan's going to call.
Yeah, Dan calls.
And Dan doesn't have much money left.
Yeah,
So Dan is pretty much, I mean, he's almost pot committing himself here, isn't he?
pretty much.
What does he have, maybe $75 left?
Turns a king. Adam's still good here with ace, queen. At this point, you got to probably put the guy in a spade draw and just put the rest of the money in here, right?
The only thing you're scared of is if the guy had, like, king blank, king of spades, king
Yeah.
deuce or something like
Yeah.
that, and he has 2 pair. But you know what? He doesn't have enough money to get away from it, I don't think.
Actually, you know what? Adam checked.
95, 100.
Well, actually, maybe Adam asked.
Just 5.
I think Adam asked Dan how much he had left, and I think Dan cut the chips out. I don't know. Well, maybe.
You have 100 total there?
He's asking how much.
Yeah, it's just a show. Nothing's happened here. Dan's just
Yeah.
cut off and showed him how much he has left. So Adam, I would really be surprised to see if Adam, checked. That
And
shit.
Adam's
He's
going to
gonna
put the whole 100 in there,
There you
and he's
go.
going to get called.
But you don't have the flush.
And he needs a 10 or a spade.
Yep. Here we go to the river. River's a jack. That's not going to do it. Adam's going to take it down. Well, I mean, Dan's still good for about 5 buy-ins from what he'll, won last week in this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that's great about the $200 game is you can take a couple of shots, lose 200 maybe, lose 200, and then when you hit big, you win 1,000. So, small downside, big upside. What's your biggest win in the $200 game?
Well, the funny thing is, we don't really get to play the game all that long, and it's not really my game of choice. I think I remember playing, and I probably before I started working here, I probably, maybe had 1,500.
Actually,
I didn't play
I
that
think
game
one of
that
your
much.
one of your biggest wins on Live at the Bike.
Yeah, it was actually on the
$200
show.
game.
Yeah,
And you won over $1,000
Yeah.
in the $200 game. If you guys want to check out the archives, you can check that out. That was back in,
think it
that
was
was probably
in
back
May
in
or something.
April or May. Yeah. You don't know off the top of your hands? Top of your head?
Well, I think that night I won about $1,000. I think it probably maybe won 1,500 the most in this game.
Yeah, I got it. Here, thanks for
10
that
more?
hand, by the way.
Thank you.
$15 raise here by seat number 5. He's got ace, 10 of spades.
I get it.
Dog is really small and they call him the runs.
We're
3 players.
got three-way action here. Jack deuce 7. Seat number 1's got queen jack of clubs. He's hit top pair. He's going to come out and bet. He's going to bet 20. And he's going to take it down.
We're live online and you're insulting people using that word. How dare you?
Everyone who's at liveatthebike.com, I want to point you over to the LA Poker Scene banner, or you can go to lapokerscene.com. Are you ready to compete for $500,000?
I am.
Look at the $500,000 guaranteed prize pool tournament.
I got a sandwich.
Dave, there are preliminary stages for that tournament run daily at 3:30, 5:30, 9:30 Eastern. It's a free roll. Check it out. Use the deposit bonus code 5X500K. Get you some free entries into those preliminary rounds. And I think the final stage is held sometime in October. But a $500,000 free roll.
And first place is $200K.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Three-way action here. We got a 8, 9, 10, couple diamond, all diamonds, and we got queen jack here is flopped to straight.
Now, interesting here, seat 5 actually has an open-ended straight flush draw.
Yep.
But Joe has the queen of diamonds in his hand, so he only has one side of it.
50?
Adam bet 25 here with king jack of diamonds, and Joe has raised it up to 50.
Okay, now Joe has the higher diamond in his hand, but if the 7 of diamonds were to come off, Adam would have the straight flush.
And Adam moves him all in, and Joe calls. And Adam has one out here, turns a 6 of diamonds, and the river is a 3. And there you go. One out to win that hand, right,
Yeah.
Dave?
And that's a pretty good flop for Joe there. He's got the straight already with the queen of diamonds just in
Yep.
case.
Yep.
Well, no, it's more than 102.
And I don't think Joe is very deep. Well, actually, no, he had $200.
Again, the yellow chips in this game are $5 chips. The blue chips are $1 chips.
Oh, him. Yeah, the money hand right there. Yeah, that was good.
Good hand down there, man.
Nice. No fault.
If you want to follow live thread, you can go to 2plus2.com if you're not quite sure how to get there. Go to liveatthebike.com and click on our 2plus2 link. We got a thread that follows the show on a nightly basis. Get a nice post here from Sig Epcher. Thank you very much. Enjoy. I'm glad you're enjoying the show.
Live tattooing on live at the bike. Hey, Raise.
Raise it.
Make it 40.
40.
Make it interesting, right?
I want to thank everybody at home who actually went to the Bluff Magazine poll and voted for us because we are now in the Dropbox. So you can go to the Bluff Magazine Reader's Choice poll, and you can vote for Live at the Bike as your favorite poker show. And if you're so inclined, you can actually vote for myself and Bart as your favorite commentators. We appreciate it.
You guys are ahead of yourselves here. You're the big one.
Button is over in seat 2.
You are the big.
Okay, there's a target for you to crack for me.
And first to act will be Adam in seat 5.
I don't want to flip your cards.
Boom, boom. She was good.
That was good.
Once again, the blinds are 3 and 5 in this game.
Some of the dealers just kind of avoid that.
Yeah, most of them flip it around like we put it
And
up like
Adam's going to limp in with pocket 3s,
you just went boom.
or as the World Poker Tour likes to say, trays.
Flip your cards and you don't want to do that.
Small blind completes here.
Finally got to put in some of those points to even
And we're going to see it 4 ways here. Pot's $20.
got enough for a blind yet.
Flop is 9-7-5 rainbow. Misses everybody. Pocket threes are still good here. Amazing, we have two jack deuces.
Check.
8 on the turn, 8 of hearts. Pocket threes are still good. And the river is a king, and Joe gets there. He's got king jack. And he's got the best hand now.
15, 1-5.
And he's going to throw a little $15 bet in there. See if maybe he can get paid off by a 7.
Take it down, please.
But
I was there for pot odds.
nobody calls him, and he doesn't show.
I was there because I posted.
You know, the funny thing about that Super Bowl, Dave, I just think that the Steelers and Bill Cowher are some of the biggest chokers that professional sports have ever seen. So I'll probably take those points.
I got to tell you, I
As a
mean,
betting man.
I think Bill Cowher is underappreciated. I mean, he continually gets his team.
And that chin of his.
Yeah, he continually gets his team to perform, and I don't think his team is overly talented. I mean, as compared to, like, say, the Colts or, say, even Seattle.
Pocket jacks here for C8. He's just going to limp in. C2's got king-queen suited. He limps in.
And he likes to play it slow. The problem is, you saw before,
Take a
he
10.
slow played those queens, flopped the set, and didn't get any action anyway.
Yep.
25.
25.
And we got a $25 raise here by C5. He's got pocket 8s. And let's see if Jack's going to pull the limp re-raise. No, he's just going to call. Limp with Jacks. Bunch of callers. We're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, 6 people in here. And this is a $125 pot.
Players.
Free
I mean,
flop.
why wouldn't you re-raise it there? Well, maybe you want to see a flop.
Well, there's only one
Win a big
Jack
pot.
left. Well, it's an overpair. Deuce 6 deuce. So let's see how Jack's is going to play it. And the board is paired.
Yeah, and 8s also obviously have our overpair. You wonder if Adam's going to get himself in trouble here.
Well, pot's 125.
70.
He's going to bet 70. Now, if you're Charles, you've got Jacks. You've got an overpair to the board. I mean, obviously, you could be scared of a higher overpair. You know, Jacks are a hand that you can get away from because you obviously can be
Right.
scared of Queens, Kings, or Aces. The
Now-
guy raised out of the blind.
Right. Is $70 enough, do you think, to get your opponents out? If you think it is, you might want to just smooth call. If not, you have the
If you think you have the
raise.
best hand, you mean.
Yeah, exactly.
But now the thing here, though, is that if you think you have the best hand and you want to trap, you've got to put the guy in 7s, 8s, 9s, or 10s, right? How do you know
or
that?
6.
Or 6, I guess. I mean, the guy did raise out of the big blind and followed up with his bet.
I mean, then
Little
you
hard to
might
put
be
him-
scared the guy has queens, kings, or aces.
Right.
Yes.
And here we go to the turn. Turn's a 9. Well, that's one other card if the guy had a hand like that
Yeah.
you would lose to now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Adam's
he's
going
going
to
to bet
continue
100.
betting.
100.
Well, you know what? Maybe now, especially at this level, if the guy had 9s full, I would expect him to check. Maybe not at higher levels. So maybe I can rule out that hand now. So now, what can the guy have that I beat? 10s or 8s? I mean, the funny thing is, actually, if I'm Jacks here,
10s, 8s, or 7s.
if somebody were to fold this right now, it wouldn't be that unreasonable. And people might look at it, well, you're crazy, you know?
But you wonder, though, I mean, would Adam be raising out of the big blind with, say, ace, king, ace, queen, ace, jack?
And then bet twice?
Well, especially if they're spades.
Yeah, well,
Or even diamonds. I mean, he could have made a continuation bet, then picked up the draw and made another bet. Just throwing other possibilities out there.
and he's going to call here again. And now, if you're Adam, what do you think this guy has? You chasing
Remember he
spades
limped
on the board?
in and then
Yeah.
he just called. So
Pot's
it's
like
really difficult to put him on a hand.
$400, and the river's a 4. It doesn't change anything. $400 pot here. Now, if you're Adam, what's your play now?
Well, this is interesting here. Now, if you put him on spades, obviously, there's no point in
Right.
betting. But if you put him on, say, 7-6, 6-5, 8-6, something like that, do you think maybe you can extract a little bit more out of him?
Do you think your hand is good right now? Could the possibility that this guy limped in with 9s, 10s, or jacks?
Or even a deuce, ace-deuce or something like that. I mean, you just wonder how the way the guy's played the hand, it's really difficult to put him on exactly what he has.
He's going to bet 100, another kind of defensive bet. 100 into a $400 pot. It's a $500 pot, 100 to call. And at this point, Charles is going to make the call, and he's going to take it down with jacks.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, kind of what saved Charles here is that Adam didn't put a whole lot of pressure on Charles. He wasn't really betting all that big.
Right.
You know,
But Charles didn't have that much money either.
Right.
He only, I think
once you make that call in the turn, boy, you're almost committed if a rag comes on the river to call the river.
he's only got about $140 left.
Yeah.
Like you said, the pot's $400. It's just really difficult to put your opponent on jacks in that case because of the way he played it.
Right.
Limping in, then smooth calling the raise. You know, the board comes out 6-deuce-deuce, and he calls you. You go, wait a second. Then he just calls you in the turn also. You're going, wait, would he just call with a deuce, or would he raise me?
Yep.
Time.
Well, it's nice to see on the 2+2 thread they're actually talking about poker.
Right. Someone get into a discussion about how tight is too tight in a no limit game. We'll get to that in a second here.
And obviously we're talking about a cash game.
Right. Yes, I believe that's.
Very big pot.
Got a raise here by C1 with Ace Jack. And we're going to see several callers. Small blinds called here with Ace Queen of Diamonds, I believe.
This seed 8. Still stacking.
Yeah, still stacking. Camera's going on right now. Those shits are
Well, actually, you know what? That's the big blind who's. Well, you know what? I'm trying to figure out if maybe did seat 7 open raise here?
Now, seat 1 raised with Ace Jack.
Okay. 5-way action here.
Wow, and seat 2's got kings.
Wow, C2's got pocket kings, and he's just called here. 9-3-7 with a couple of spades. So kings is an overpair. And Aaron, look at that, he's got ace-9. Is he going to get in trouble? Actually, he has ace-8. We have it as ace-9, but he has ace-8.
Right, now, Joseph does have a 9. He's got a 9-5. Not much of a kicker there with 9-5. Obviously, if you're in there with 9-5 of clubs, it's not the flop you're looking for.
80.
Gets checked over to William, and he's going to bet 80 here with the overpair.
3 aces are dead. You guys can see that.
Yeah.
So kings are in really good shape here.
And again, the action's over to Joseph here with 9-5 of clubs.
That's a good laydown by Joe. It's one thing to call a pre-flop raise with 9-5 of clubs, trying to get, trying to hit some sort of magical flop. But it's another thing entirely to call off your money with only a pair of 9s and
Right.
a 5 kicker.
But you can figure it out.
So we'll get into that discussion about how tight is too tight in these
Yeah.
no-limit games. Now, Russ Fox will come out and say, in a restricted buy-in game where the stacks are not deep, there is no such thing as too tight. And I would tend to agree with him. It's almost like you play it like limit. I don't think there's really such a thing, as long as you're aggressive in limit, to playing too tight pre-flop in limit. Now, but once you get, a little bit deeper, even in this game, you've got several players with at least 100 times the
Big blind.
the big blind. I mean, I think you can play more hands in no limit in position than obviously you can in some other forms of
Right.
poker, like limit.
Obviously, a lot of it depends on what your blind structure is in the game you're playing.
Right.
If your blind structure is so high where you'll get blinded off if you don't play a hand for, say, 30 minutes,
Right.
well, then obviously you've got to play more hands.
Right.
But in a game like this where the blinds are only 3 and 5, if you've got $600-700 behind you, you can really play it very tight.
Well, there was some other discussion about, we had a raise here by Dan with ace queen of diamonds out of the big blind. Seat 9 has pulled the limp re-raise all in here. With a lot of dead money, I don't mind the play. There were several limpers. Dan raised it out of the big blind, and he already had a caller in there. He's got pocket 8s, and Dan has ace queen of diamonds. We're going to see a classic raise here. So Steve's trying to gamble it up here, and he's good so far.
Yep.
He needs to dodge an ace or a queen here, and he does, and 8s are going to take it down.
Yeah, full house there.
Now, in this game, you can actually rebuy when you're under $100. You can bring your stack up to 300. So someone like Steve, who had about 100, oftentimes you'll see players gamble with a mid-pocket pair looking for a coin flip so that they can start accumulating chips again. Because you're really restricted when you're around 110, 115. You can't bring your stack up. But at the same time, you really can't play.
Yeah. It really puts you in a tough spot.
Now, what I was saying about pre-flop hand selection in no limit, obviously you can play more hands in position in no limit. I think you have to notice who you're playing against, what their stack size is, what position that you have in relative to your position, and how much money you have as well.
Right.
Also, are they the type of player that can't get rid of big hands like overpairs to the board?
I mean, if you can play it super tight, if the blind structure is so small that it's not going to affect your stack, you can play it so tight, but nobody's paying attention, and you can basically only play the nuts and still get paid off.
Yeah.
Hey, that's great.
Ace, king, 3 here. A couple clubs. Doesn't look like anybody has an ace. And somebody else said, you know, especially in tough games, in limit hold'em, blind stealing is a critical part of the game. In no limit, I really don't think it's that important a part of the game. Turns of 4. Adam called here with a wheel draw, and he's picked up a pair now.
Yep.
Now,
Oh, and he hits the wheel.
yep, river's a deuce.
It is a one-liner to the straight, though. Is Adam going to throw a little bet in there? I mean, nobody's got anything, though, really.
And I don't think anyone can
No,
call
I
that.
can't imagine everybody
Well,
calling
Aaron's
this.
got king 9. Now, Dave, you're a big proponent on kind of weak passive tables of raising in position. Now, you're not necessarily raising in position to steal the blinds, right?
Right.
You're raising in position to maybe hope you get it either heads up against a player that will often check and fold to you if he hasn't hit the board.
Well, I mean, it's actually Phil Hellmuth's style in tournaments.
Yeah.
Phil Hellmuth actually loves to raise small raises in position and play against players that he thinks he is stronger than.
Right.
Well, I guess in Phil's eyes, he's everybody's weaker
Right,
than him.
right.
But you know what I mean? He wants to get it. He wants somebody else to put a little bit more money in the pot, get it heads up with somebody he thinks he can dominate, and outplay post-flop.
Of course you are. What? Oh, stop.
We had a little raise here by seat number 3, I believe. 10-9 of diamonds. That's Steven the Magician. And we are going to see 4 players here. $80 pot. Steven the Magician, the pre-flop raiser with 9-10 of diamonds. Here we go to the flop. 9-4-3. Steven's hit top pair. Look at this. Seat 4 called with queen 9 offsuit. He's got a better kicker.
Seat 2, William has a nut flush.
He does. He flopped the nut flush.
And he's got a straight flush draw.
Now, Aaron, I mean, if you're going to call raises with queen 9, Dave. Well, first of all, I wouldn't call raises with queen 9. And that flop, I would just... I'd sicker get away from that.
Yeah.
He's going to fold.
Run.
But Adam's going to call, and Adam is obviously, everyone's drawing dead here. Adam calls a jack 10 with the jack of clubs, and Williams slow plays it. He just calls. Turns a 7. It's an interesting situation once again. You talk about Williams got the nut flush. He's out of position. How much more money can he make on the hand? But Steven's going to call. And look at this. Adam's going to race with a straight draw and a jack. Well, I guess William had the right idea because everyone else is doing the betting for him.
Yeah, well, you know what? Steven bet is 10, is 9. I guess Adam picked up on the weakness and said, okay, let me see if I can take this down right now on a bluff.
Now, the interesting thing here is that Steven bet, Adam raised, and now Williams just called again. How do you play it if you're William? The river's a king.
Yeah.
How do you play it now? Let's see what he's going to do here.
You almost have to check it one more time and just let your opponent bet, don't you?
Or do you hope that
He's got a
maybe
smaller
flop
flush.
a smaller flush? What's he going to do? No, he just actually, I think he's going to move all in here. He's moved all in. Well, again, I think that hand illustrates the fact that how difficult it is to slow play out of position. What are you going to do? Check call, move in on the river?
Yeah, it's extremely difficult.
Now, he made it. He made a good amount of money on the hand by playing it slow, but to actually extract maximum value, it can get tricky, right?
Yeah, no, playing any hand out of position is really hard. Obviously, a
Right.
hand like that is very difficult. And when your opponent raises on the turn as a bluff, and you get this third guy to just call, it kind of raises your ear going, wait a second, what does this guy have?
Yeah.
What's he calling me with? I mean, I always, in terms of playing tight in a game, if you're looking just to make a couple of bucks here and there, if you want to play the $200 game and play it really super tight, you
Right.
can probably beat it.
Right. Well, that's just because there are players in there that are going to call you, that aren't paying attention, going to call you with weak top pairs.
Yeah, exactly.
Limped around here. Seat number 1's got ace-king. He did not raise out of the blind. Jack, deuce 4. We cannot see seat 2's cards. And Charles is going to go over there. He's going to bet with pocket 7s. Jack, deuce 4. Why not? On the
Hey,
button.
on the button, why not?
Seat 2 has got 6-3 of hearts. He's not going to get involved. And Charles is going to take it
Nice
down.
bet by Charles. That's why to use your position. I mean, it always amazes me. We watch the show hours on hours, and we see players getting paid off, players like Russ Fox, players like Ollie.
Tony the prop, as we
Yeah,
take a look at the
still
first
getting
chip count
paid
on
off.
that.
It's amazing.
This was actually from one hand ago, so the Magician's covering the table here with $1,000. And just do a quick calculation, Dave. We've got almost $3,000 or $4,000 on the table. That's a lot for a 200 game.
Yeah, actually over 4,000.
Now, it's interesting we were talking about blind stealing, how it's not a part of a no-limit cash game. Whereas in a tournament with escalating blinds and antes, it's a critical part
Oh,
of
you
the
have
game.
to, especially with antes.
And
so
that's
forth.
why people who are tournament no-limit players sometimes can't make the adjustment to cash games because they think that they need to accumulate chips when you really don't.
There's one player in particular, this guy Philly Al, who if I'm playing in a no-limit game, I almost want him to be on the button, and I want to be after him.
Yeah.
Because he will almost always, if it's folded around to him on the button, he will almost always raise.
In a
With-
cash game.
In a cash game with garbage, and I'll put in there $40
Right.
trying to win my $5 blinds.
Right. Well, Steven's flopped top pair here, and he's come out and bet, and Dan's got the same hand. He's going to raise. And look at that. Steven's going to fold.
I mean, you just got to think of the logistics of it all. In a game like this where the blinds are 3 and 5, and it's a modified drop, we're talking the casino gets 50 cents. So you're risking, let's say you were to raise it up, say $20, $25. You're risking $20 or $25 to win $750. It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Now, if your play is to, occasionally get called by them, and then outplay them after the flop, hey, obviously there's different ways to play it after the flop.
How sweet of you. I could have picked it off.
But blind stealing doesn't make much sense, not to me at least. Man, it is hot in here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whew.
Button moves over here to seat number 1. Here we go. Flop comes out 10-6 deuce with a couple hearts. Joe's got a flush draw, and he's going to bet $10 here.
What do you say?
And we're going to see 2 callers. Wow. And actually, Steven is going to check raise here with second pair with an overcard. Joe quickly calls with a flush draw. And William, he had called with pocket 4s there. I think it's time for him to lead it down here. And we're heads up. Steven check raise. The turn's a 10. Well, Steven checks now, and Joe's going to take a card. And the river's a jack, and now Steven's got jacks and 10s, and he's going to come out and bet.
Obviously, 3-pair does not play, so he has jacks and 10s with a 6 kicker.
Now, is there a reason, if you were Steven, now this is an interesting little hand there. First of all, I think I would have bet the turn. I would not have given the guy a free card on the turn. Now, something happens where, well, what if the guy is astute enough to raise with his heart draw when the top pair paired there? Steven check raised before, check raised the flop. Is there a reason for Steven to bet the river? I mean, sometimes we talk about,
Matters to us.
sometimes checking to induce a bluff. Are you ever going to get called by a hand that you basically are going to beat?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, would a 6 pay you off there? I don't know. Obviously, checking to induce a bluff is a powerful play.
Right.
I'm actually curious of why he checked the turn, though.
Right.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Now. If you thought your 6 was good on the flop,
Right.
or when the top
Right.
card pairs, hey, even more so.
4-way action here. Bottom set here for Dan in seat 6. He's got set of deuces.
That is the 3rd set of ducks we've seen today.
Now look at Dan. He looked at his chips, and then he checked. Turns a 3rd heart.
Now, Dan does have a deuce of hearts.
And now, Steven's going to come out and bet. He's got 2 pair now. He's going to bet 30. And the interesting thing here for Dan is Dan going to chicken out? Is he going to pop it now? He was waiting. He was slow playing it. And he just calls. So there you go. A 3rd heart scares him, scares some of the action.
Yeah, and he's okay now. He just can't have, obviously, a 9 or 7.
And the river's a heart, Dave. Oh, my. Gets checked over to Dan, and the deuce of hearts is going to be good. But there's a perfect example there of how sometimes slow playing a bottom set there on a coordinated board can be kind of scary for you as well as some of the other players.
Kill your action. More than kill your hand, it kills
Yeah.
your action.
Am I the small blind? Or?
No, he's gonna buy the button.
This is kind of cool. We have a Valentine's Day weekend special coming up here at the Bicycle Casino. We've got it's February 10th to 12th. And on Friday night, 7:15, you can do a no-limit hold'em shootout where you can play against your girl, or your girl can play against him. Then on Saturday, it's actually play with him. And that's also at 7:15 p.m., February 11th. And it's kind of a tag team event for you and your girl. And then on Sunday, it is a play without him. We have a women-only tournament here. No-limit hold'em tournament, $25 buy-in. And that's at Sunday, February 12th at 2:15 p.m. Pretty cool. Ooh, Valentine's Day weekend. Bonanza. I'm feeling a little lethargic today.
A little lethargic?
I am.
Really?
Yeah, maybe it's a Monday thing. I don't know.
Get a raise here to $20 by the button. Jack 6 offsuit. Well, see if he's going to try to raise in position here, Dave. He's going to get called here in 3 spots. We got 4-way action. It's an $80 pot. King, Jack, Deuce. And you know what? He's got the best hand. He's hit middle pair. A couple spades out there.
Bet 30.
And Steven's going to bet 30. And this probably should be enough. Board's King, Jack, Deuce, and 2 spades. Well, Adam's open-ended, and he's going to call. Now, what's the problem with that call right there? Now, he does get it heads up, but what do we always talk about?
Yeah, with a 2-spaded board, obviously, you don't quite know where you're at.
Turns a 7. And it goes check, check, and the river here is an 8.
Now, let's see if Adam uses that card. It's a 3rd spade up there. Now, let's see if he uses it. And it looks like he's going to.
He's going to bet.
And Steven has induced this bluff. By checking the turn, he's induced this bluff, hasn't he?
He has, but he folds.
Yeah.
Well, again, you think about what type of player is betting into you. Would that guy chase a straight draw with 2 spades out there, or was he on a spade draw? What can I beat except a pure bluff on a broken spade draw with Jack 6?
Right.
I don't think
the only thing you can beat, literally, is Queen 10.
Yeah. Without spades.
Two higher cards.
No, you have 2 higher cards. 'cause you
Button moves over to seat 4.
had a low diamond.
I had Queen 10.
You didn't have Queen 10 because one of the cards you lifted up was a low diamond.
Dave, I want to give a shout out to a guy
You don't
that
have to believe if you don't want to. I'm telling you the
he's a big fan of the show. He goes on 2+2 by SP Surf and Michael. He's always here at the bike. He's one of the loyal viewers to the show. So we
He's a
want
good
to say
guy.
hello, Michael.
Yeah, hey, Mike.
Limped around here.
Have you ever been to Havana?
No, I
No?
haven't. Ace King 7 here. Rainbow flop. Ace 7 here for Dan. He's got top and bottom pair.
Bet 10.
Have you ever done to like musical theater, like Guys and Dolls?
I have been to musical theater. I haven't been to Guys and Dolls.
No,
Adam's
okay.
going to bet here with a weak ace, and Dan is just going to call.
Dan loves to slow play, doesn't he?
3.
Well, you know what, though? Last week he wasn't doing much of that. And Steven calls with King Jack. Turn is a 9. So 3-way action here. Adam's going to bet again.
Adam's drawing dead, by the way.
And now Dan's going to make a mini raise.
Now, if a king,
Is 45
if a king or a 9 were to come out, Adam would have actually, pot hands over, but Adam actually would have chopped it up.
That's right.
But we don't see the river. The river actually would have been a 4.
So 2 players would have had 2 pair there.
Yeah, obviously Dan would have won.
Interesting situation when up front, if you get a free ride in the blinds, and a flop comes out, and that flop is really not that draw heavy,
Yeah.
but a flop comes out with an ace, and you're in there against 7 people. Sometimes, Dave, sometimes with top pair, when it's limped around 6 or 7 ways, I guess you can throw a feeler bet out there, but especially with an ace, I don't necessarily even mind a check fold. I was telling you about a hand that I played earlier in the 500 game today, and I asked your opinion about it, and I'll get to this in a second. I actually had King Queen. I got a kind of a free ride in the small blind. There was 6-way action. Flop came out Queen 8 deuce. I threw $50 into 6 people, and a guy who's pretty tight raised me to 150 on the button. You know what? I just didn't get involved with it.
Yeah, I mean, no limit really is about picking your spots.
Right.
You don't have to win every single hand you play.
Jack 5 deuce here, a couple hearts.
We've seen over and over again people trying to win every hand they play.
we're going to see a bet here by seat 6. He's got Jack 9. He's going to bet $30. Or Jack 10, and he's going to take it down.
Take it down? Damn.
Top pair there for Dan.
So did you have a good weekend, Bart? Besides the tournament, obviously?
Yeah, I did. Actually, kind of relaxed a little bit.
Did you? Okay. Good to know.
I had a bad night on Saturday, I was telling you about. Or Friday night, excuse me. I hopped into a short-handed 10-20 no-limit game here at the bike. And pretty much got into a situation that I just couldn't get away from. And ended up dropping, after the show, I ended up dropping about $3,000 between the 3 to 5 and the 10-20 no-limit game. That'll give you a day off for the next day.
Yeah, sometimes you get. Hey, I always tell people, I go, there's nothing wrong with getting a day away from the casino. These casinos, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Raise here by C3, H7
Some people
of spades.
insist upon, like, no, I'm down money, I got to make my money back today.
Six-way action.
So right now, we got a $60 pot before the flop.
Little mini raise by C3 with Ace7, King Jack 10, Rainbow. Now, Charles has got Queen 10, and look at this, Dan's got King Queen, top pair open-ended straight draw.
Yeah, that's a nice flop for King Queen, huh? Top pair, especially with the rainbow
He's
board.
on the button here, too. And he's going to come out and he's going to bet.
Pretty straightforward.
60?
He's going to bet 60.
And is Charles going to get involved here? No. He's going to take it down. You know something pretty impressive, actually? Obviously, you being a commentator on the show and Shirley Rosario being a former commentator on the show, we will have her in as a guest. Neither one of you finished in the money in last night's Omaha tournament. But our technical, I guess, what do you want to call that? What's the job? Our technical expert here, Ronnie, actually finished in the money in the Omaha tournament last night. I think he got knocked out with about 2 tables left. I think 3 tables got paid. So congratulations to Ronnie. I guess time and time again, you know what? I mean, I remember having the poker party at my house where Isaac basically showed us up there. Time and time again, the technical staff is showing us up.
Yeah, calling that all in by Isaac with like Queen 9 suited against my Ace King.
Button is in seat 7. I think we're going to...
Pot's limped around here. I mean,
Yeah.
We've got 5-way action.
$28 pot.
King, Queen, Jack with a couple spades. Looks like Aaron's got top pair, and so does William.
And Dan's got the flush draw.
Aaron's going to come out and bet $20 here with King 7. Dan's he's gonna call.
I'm often a big advocate for raising with your draws. I mean, do you really think you're going to make it? Are there any implied odds here with deuce 3 of spades?
Turns a 9, and now there's a one-liner to a straight. Check, check here. And the river is a 7. Aaron has 2 pair.
He's got 2 pair, but he can barely even bet it.
And he's going to bet, though. He bets 20. Dan's going to fold. Funny thing there for Dan, what a great place to maybe bet the turn, right? And represent. We sometimes talk about when you go for different draws, maybe representing a third suit. How about representing straight?
Yeah.
You know Aaron's not going to be able to call there with King 7, right?
Well, we saw Kathy Labor, and we talked to her about that, and she said, oftentimes when I'm going for a straight or going for a flush, I want to find other cards that are scare cards.
Right.
They barely even listen to what we say.
Sometimes it can be an overcard. Sometimes it can be a card that represents a straight. Just got to make sure that your opponent is obviously paying attention.
Let's create some action here. Come on.
All right, I'll break the ice.
And it limps around, but wow, the big blind is going to raise it up here with pocket 10s. He makes it 20 to go.
Just for the TV. Right?
And Dan's going to call with 8-7 offsuit.
And it looks like seat 4 is going to be in there with 8-5.
Yeah, we got about
8-5 of diamonds.
a $75 pot to the flop.
Yep. Seat 5 here, the betting lead with pocket 10s. Flop comes out 3-4-4.
Yeah, and everybody's missed this pretty much. Pocket 10's well in the lead.
Check.
4 or 6 or something.
And Adam's probably going to bet about $75, I'd guess.
35.
The 35.
And he bets $35? Wow.
kind of a weak bet, a little bit of half the size of the pot.
I mean, you'd almost think that he's either missed it completely or he's got a set, right? I mean, the way he's bet this. $35 into a $75 pot. He's betting maybe 40% of the pot size with a hand that really is certainly vulnerable, isn't
I
it?
hope they didn't have before. Because they were calling the shit.
Bun's going to move over here to seat 9.
Get sucked out.
Tomorrow, Dave, I think we're going to have a special Barry Woods night here at Live at the Bike. Little home $500 unrestricted buy-in game. I don't know. You know, maybe Shirley might show up tomorrow.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Looks like a couple of ladies over here in seat number 1. I don't know if Shirley plays live no limit that high, though. I mean, it's not really is not that big. Well, I mean, it's a big game, but I think those guys are probably only going to be buying in for about 1,000. So
Pocket queens here for Peter, and ace king of diamonds for Steven in seat 3. See what happens.
Seat 1 got the queens. He's going to raise.
And he's in a small blind.
35.
Going to make it 35. Let's see what Steven the Magician's going to do with the ace king of diamonds.
Is he going to call or is he going to raise it up? It looks like he's going to just call.
No, he's going to raise.
He is. And he's kind of raising it minimum here.
70 total?
He's going to make it 70 to go.
Now, by raising the minimum, he's kind of getting it heads up, I guess. Isolating his opponent. With ace king of diamonds, I don't really mind a lot of players in there.
Let's see what Peter's going to do now. So the guys raised the minimum.
And these guys are pretty deep.
Yeah. Both of them, I mean, seat number 1 has got 600, and Steven's got him covered.
Now, once again, this is Peter's out of position, though.
Yeah. So this pot's going to be about $150 going heads up. Here we go. Well, there's the king right off here. Pretty good. The only thing, if you're worried probably now about if you're Steven.
Bet 100.
Well, he doesn't look like he's worried at all.
He's not worried at all. Yeah. He's going to bet 100, and Peter folds. I thought that was actually the other way around.
I got you.
I was going to say, if you got ace-king, that flop comes up. I guess you're really only worried about aces now, right?
Pretty much.
Or the slight chance that the guy's got the other 2 kings.
And you wonder now, Peter raised it up out of the blind. You re-raise him, and everybody else folds. Might he just call with aces? I'm not sure if you'd see that at this level or not.
What a great flop for aces if it came out king 3-3.
Oh, perfect flop. That's the flop you're hoping for.
Buttons over there in seat 9.
Raise, make it 10.
Raise here at $10.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Little mini raise. Looks like with ace jack offsuit. Seat 9's got a king jack. 5, 6, 10 here, rainbow.
Pair of 10s there for seat 4.
Bet 15.
But Joe is going to make a continuation bet with ace-jack. He's missed completely. Is Aaron going to get involved here with top pair?
He's going to call. So we're heads up here, ace-jack against 7-10. Turns a 7, and now Aaron's got 2 pair.
Check.
He's going to check now, and Joe's going to bet again.
Yeah, he's continuing to bet this.
And Joe is drawing dead. There's no card that's going to help him here on the river. He cannot chop either, right?
No. No, he's drawn completely dead.
And Aaron's just going to check call here again. And the problem is that could he get chickened out here on the river? Well, the river's a 4, and now anyone with an 8 would have a straight now.
Yeah, 8 or a 3. And he's going to bet again. with
Aaron
ace-jack.
checks, and Joe's going to bet, but Aaron's going to call.
Man, that's persistent.
Yeah, 7-10 is going to take it down.
I mean, if
here.
you've got ace-jack off suit there, there's got to become a point where you go, you know what, maybe my hand's not good.
Yeah.
And maybe these little $35 bets aren't going to work.
You know, the funny thing is that, as somebody points out on the 2+2 thread, Dave, I forgot to actually discuss this with you, is that Philly Al Barbaria, or they sometimes call him Sugar Bear Al or something like that.
Yeah.
He actually came in second place in the Limit Hold'em event at the
Wow.
LA Poker Class a couple days ago.
Congratulations to
And I
Phil.
love Philly Al. He's a nice guy. But when he comes into a cash game, like when we're playing 30-60 Hold'em, my God, does that become a good game.
Yeah.
And it always amazes me how some of these guys, book these tournament wins, and they just are so bad at cash games.
Well, tournaments and cash games are completely different animals. We talk about it all the time.
Right.
And there are very few players who are capable of playing both at a very high level.
Right.
And many of the best tournament players just stay out of cash games because they realize that that's their weakness.
Six-way action here. Ace 8-4. Seat 1's got an ace-queen. He limped in late position. That's playing pretty tight.
Now, this could get him in trouble. This is one of the reasons I don't like to limp with ace-queen. Now, Aaron's in there with 2 pair. He's got ace-8. And you have no idea where you're at with ace-queen here. Are you going to lose a lot of money?
And we had a bet here by King 9, and Peter raised, and now Aaron's going to check re-raise. And that actually might save Peter, because he had somebody that bet, we had a raise, and now a check re-raise, I believe. And actually, excuse me, Peter bet and Aaron check raised.
Now, the problem is now Aaron is in the blind here. He could have anything. He could have 8-4. He could have ace-4. Good lay down there by Peter. If you're going to slow play ace-queen, you certainly don't want to get involved with it. And Aaron shows the 2 pair. Makes Peter feel even better about it. But, I mean, I dare me say this, but look at Men to Master. I mean, most cash game pros actually, they kind of lick their lips when they see men come through the door ready to play cash games.
Right. Absolutely.
The Coronas start flowing, and the chips start throwing around,
Not even, maybe not. Actually, coming from you, I probably would have thought about it.
That aggressive, that really overly aggressive style that works so well in accumulating a lot of chips in tournaments often does not work in cash games where you have to have a little more discipline and a little more patience, I think. I mean, obviously discipline and patience is needed in tournaments as well, but you've got to be aggressive. You've got to be able to gamble it up a little bit in tournaments. You have to accumulate chips. Those escalating blinds will just kill you if you just wait around for the best hands for aces all day.
6-way action here, limped around. Here we go to the flop. 9, 6, 10 with a couple of diamonds.
Open-ended straight draw here for Steve in seat 9. Haven't heard much from him all night, have we?
Yep. He's going to make the call. We had a bet here by seat 5 with deuce 10. Again, top pair, weak kicker.
Has Peter gotten involved here? Peter's got a gut shot straight draw with second pair, and he does. He stays in there.
Not even closely interested.
Turn is an 8 of diamonds. I just,
And there's the straight for Steve.
Obviously aggressive play is good, Dave, but I mean, if you're in the blind there and that flop comes 10, 6, 9, I mean, you throw money in there, $10 with seat 5. We had a bet here by $20 here by William.
Steve's going to raise it up.
Yep, and Steve's going to raise there.
And he's got almost, I mean, Steve, we haven't heard from him all day. Now, is William going to get involved here? He's got a gut shot straight flush draw. No, he's going to throw it away.
Yeah. And Peter gets away from 2 pair there. Obviously, there was a straight on the board.
And a
Anyone with a
flush.
7 and 3 diamonds. What I was going to say was that, I mean, you throw out $10 if you're Adam. If you get called by anyone, you're throwing $10 into a pot that's about, I want to say 30. There are 5 or 6 people in the hand. I would think that you either need to bet more
or
not get committed. And I probably wouldn't even get committed with that board. It's just,
I mean, I am guilty. Once in a while, I'll screw around just to kind of have fun.
Right.
Not even just have fun, actually. It does give me some information. I'll even throw a $5 bet in there once in a while.
Right.
Just to kind of, I see where somebody's at. And once in a while, I can go, okay, and I can almost keep the pot small.
right.
But I do understand what you're saying, obviously. Throwing $10 in there gets you really very little information, and certainly isn't going to win you the pot.
There are no cards that you can see there on the turn that you're going to like.
How about a black deuce?
Yeah, there you go. To make it 2 pair. We're going to raise here by seat number 3. King 7 offsuit gets called in the blind and seat 2. Here we go. Ace, deuce 3. Now seat 2's got 9 ton of hearts. He's missed. Steven's missed. And Joe's missed. Everybody's
Steven was
missed.
the raiser with King 7. You wonder if the magician's getting a little impatient.
He's going to bet here.
Well, he's going to follow up his raise, though, and I'm probably going to take it down.
Sorry, I thought you had a lot more.
It's interesting. One of the things I always liked, Dave, when I was in England,
Yeah.
was the fact that, you could go to your local tobacco store and buy like a nice Monte Cristo number 3, number 4.
Yeah, that's good.
And a nice scotch, single.
It's
single
really
malt
hard
scotch.
to get in America, actually, obviously. But when I was in Jamaica, I had some great Cubans.
Yeah.
Really fabulous.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I should have added some dessert to my meal.
Button moves over here to seat 6.
You're a big cigar smoker?
You know, I will dabble
Once in a while?
in that form occasionally.
You ever had that apple strudel thing
Limped
they got
around
going
here.
Not too shabby.
I do like a nice scotch with that.
Good idea.
7-way action.
I think I will try some.
We go to the flop.
Boy, are we subtle.
King 10-5, couple diamonds. Seat 8's got top pair here with King 8.
I'll check it around. Check.
And everybody's going to check here. Turn is a queen, and now we've got a couple people in there with straight draws. Actually, Jack 9's been a straight in seat 1, Peter. He's going to bet. He bets 15.
Now, a couple of players are
30.
open-ended here. Aaron's got a pair, and he's open-ended.
So Charles did not bet out with King 8 here in early position. The turn was a queen, and is he going to get involved?
Your lucky verbal chip there.
Charles has played it very passive.
What?
You got your lucky purple chip there.
He's going to call.
This is what you talk about in terms of, you've got a king, you got not much of a
Right.
kicker there. Do you really want to get involved?
Oh,
And now
boy.
he's got two pair.
He's got 2 pair here, and this might probably make him prone to pay off more.
Now, how much is Peter going to bet this? He's got to think, okay, my opponent checked the flop, but he called the turn.
Well, he's got the second nut hand here. He
Right.
obviously thinks his hand is good.
Yeah, the only thing he has to worry about is ace-jack, but I don't think he puts Charles here on ace-jack.
Bet 50.
He's going to bet 50.
And I imagine he's probably just going to get a call here. I don't think Charles can raise this.
Well, you never know. We've seen stranger things. And it looks like Charles is going to call, and Peter's going to take it down there with Jack 9.
And you kind of wonder, did Peter leave a little money on the table? Might he have been able to bet a little more?
Well,
the pot was about 120. Could he, but maybe bet 120 or
Yeah,
$110.
no, I know what you mean, but it almost like that guy screamed like he had a weak king. And it's just, you're trying to bet an amount that you're going to get called by.
Yeah.
That 8, makes some connection. I mean, is a guy going to call you? You don't know that he made 2 pair on the river there, obviously.
Right.
How much more can he really call? I actually like the bet there on the river. Button moves over to seat 7. Sometimes, obviously, we can see the result would have been different because we can see the cards.
Of course, obviously. One thing that I'd like to do, though, is I want to try to keep my bet sizes the same. And if I'm betting in the river on a value bet, let's say in that case the pot was 120, I bet with the second nut about, say, 40% of the pot as a value bet. Well, later on when I make a bluff, what am I going to bet then?
Right.
Because $50 isn't going to get it done.
I'm treating myself.
I'm not going to get somebody off the king,
I'm out on a night
a weak
special.
king, for $50 into a $120 pot.
Buy yourself something.
Limped around here.
I actually am
All
celebrating.
diamonds, 10-5-4.
What's that?
Well, flop flush for seat 9 there.
Yep. Seat 9 is flop the flush.
Officially divorced.
Really?
See how he plays this. He's got and he actually has a straight flush draw, open-ended. He's got 6-3 of diamonds. Flop is 10-5-4 diamonds, folks.
C3 is going to bet $20 here. And 9-10 offsuit is going to call. He's got top pair with the 9 of diamond flush draw. And 9 is going to call here as well. He's slow playing the low flush. Well, see what happens here if a diamond comes out. Turn is an 8.
Now, if a diamond comes off, he is in trouble unless, of course, it's a deuce or 7 of diamonds.
Well, now he check called the flop, and now he's going to lead into the turn when the 8 comes on the turn.
He doesn't want to give a free card now.
He's got 6-3 of diamonds.
Yeah, and William is not in there.
Yeah. We got seat 3 in there with king 6. Seat 8 with 9-10 with the 9 of diamonds. And seat 9 bet out again with 6-3 of diamonds. And, Stephen called. So we got a flopped flush against king 6. And the river is a 6, so Stephen makes a pair.
It's all in.
And now Charles is going to move all in.
Yeah, and this is an easy laydown for Stephen.
Uh,
Kind of curious that Stephen would keep calling that with not even a nut flush draw.
right.
Just a king of diamonds.
Well, maybe it looks like tomorrow, Dave, it will be a 300 to 500 game. If Nicole is working, maybe I can play in that game. Who knows? We'll see.
Well, that would be fun.
I don't think it's going to be the best lineup, but
It's not bad as Barry Woods in the game.
no, that's true. I was I was looking back at the archives, and I think it was last Wednesday. Was it last Wednesday when Barry had King 10 and Vic Park tried to semi-bluff him with an ace-high flush draw on the turn? Check raise. And I am actually a fan of Barry's game. He does a lot of things
Well, actually, it
that
was Barry
I like.
Woods who did the bluff.
No.
Yeah, Barry bluffed out Vic Park.
No. Barry Woods had top pair. Well, we'll get to it here in a second.
Okay.
Limped around here.
5 plays.
5-way action.
Damn, he's king.
Queen 5-5 here.
Peter loves to play this slow, huh? He doesn't raise ace, king, ace, queen.
Well, he's in the blind, I think, so. Steven's going to come out, and he's going to bet with top pair.
Now, we saw earlier, though, he had ace, queen in late position. He didn't raise there either.
Right, it's true.
So you're wondering, does Peter only raise with big pocket pairs? The only time we've seen him raise pre-flop was when he had queens.
Right.
If you start picking up on that, you can start figuring out what he has.
Steven takes it down. No, what it basically happened was that Barry Woods had raised with king 10. Oh, wait a minute, we got a call. Peter's called with ace king here.
And he said his ace.
Oh, wow, the turn's an ace, and he checks.
Bet 40.
And Steven's going to bet 40 now. Peter calls. Well, you wonder if maybe Peter picked up on the fact that Steven had been betting with nothing and thought his hand was good anyways. River's a deuce. Peter checks, and Steven's going to check right behind him.
Obviously, no point in betting that queen 9 there.
And Peter takes it down. What I was going to say was that actually Barry Woods had raised with king 10 of hearts. Vic Park had called in the blind with ace 8 of diamonds. Vic Park picked up the nut diamond draw on the flop. Barry had top pair.
Oh, okay.
Vic checked, Barry bet, Vic called. Vic made a big check raise on the turn, and Barry called once again with top pair. And then he checked the river, Vic, after he missed, and Barry bet again with top pair. And actually, I didn't, I was listening to our commentary. I'm a big fan of Barry's game in certain aspects, but there are just certain leaks in his game that I still have a problem with in terms of calling down way too many hands, making that bet on the river. When I look back at it, we didn't talk about how kind of bad a bet it was.
Was this last Wednesday?
Yeah, this was last Wednesday.
Oh, that was actually you and Nicole then.
No, it was the Wednesday's game. It was
2 weeks ago.
no, last Wednesday.
Right, I was out
6 plays.
last Wednesday.
Oh, it was Denny and I.
Danny and
Denny,
you, okay.
So you were. So you don't even know about the hand.
Right.
Okay. Well, that makes
So
it a little
they-
bit more difficult to discuss then. Deuce 4.
You were probably
Yeah.
trying to talk about some great hand, and Danny's going, "Hey, have you had the hot dogs yet?"
Right. Dan's got a straight. Dan flopped a straight and he checked it. Turns at 10.
No, Peter's now picked up top pair with the ace kicker.
Dan's going to bet 10 now.
$10.
Peter calls.
And Dan, oh wow, Peter's going to raise this up.
Yeah, it's actually Charles that called. Charles flopped a straight too. Dan and Charles both flopped straights, and they're both playing it slow. Dan bet the turn, and Charles just called with deuce 4. Wow.
And William throws away his sevens.
Both of them have the nuts right now. Dan and Charles both have the nuts, and Peter check raised with ace 10.
Yeah, the only hand that would actually beat them is 7-4.
You're right, second nut. Yeah.
But it's nice with actually a Padugi out there, 4 different suits out there. You don't have to be worried about any redraw to a flush draw.
So Dan now has bet, a call in the middle, a check raise, and now Dan's re-raised. And now maybe it might be time for Charles to figure, you know what,
Yeah.
these guys have hands big enough where I can just push right now.
Charles is kind of looking out there, trying to wondering, do I have the nuts? No, I don't have the nuts. I have the second nut. How am I going to play this? And Peter's probably got to hate his hand now, huh?
Well, Peter knows that he's no good. Seems like the type of player that can easily get away from ace 10 right now.
I mean, the one thing about Barry Woods, and I'll get to it in a second, right after this hand, and look at this. Charles is going to re-raise him.
This is going to put Dan all in. Peter's obviously going to get away from the hand easily enough.
Look at Peter. He even goes,
Yeah.
I raise, he re-raises,
Right.
he re-raises. Okay, easy muck for me.
Grab the rankles and spell run.
I'm all in.
And this is going to get chopped up,
Chop
folks.
it up, folks.
And they both show the same hands.
3, 4, 5, 6. Straight.
River
Wow,
was
and the
nice.
river would have given, the river would have given Peter 2 pair. You wonder if he might have gotten a little more involved.
So anyways, I just want to make a little more sense of the mush that I just said about that hand. Basically, Barry had raised with king 10 of hearts, Dave.
Yeah.
Vic Park had called with ace 8 of diamonds. The flop came 10, blank, blank with 2 diamonds.
Okay.
Barry bet, Vic called. Turn was another blank. Vic checked. Barry bet again with top pair. Vic made a pretty nice check raise.
Hit 2 pair, right?
Of
Right.
course, Barry's not going to get away from top pair, 1 pair. He called. The river missed Vic's overcard and flush, and Vic realized, you know what, I'm never going to bluff Barry off a hand now. He's got to have at least an overpair. He checked, and Barry bet again on the river with 1 pair at the end, kind of like a value bet. And obviously Vic laid the hand
Vic
out.
laid the hand
But this
down.
has got to be one that you should go back and look at.
I'll check it out.
Again,
I definitely will. I haven't had a chance to watch you and Danny perform.
And like I said, there's a lot of things about Barry's game that I like. I like the fact that his post-flop aggression is good. He'll bet in spots and pick up small pots when he thinks that everyone's weak, which is...
I mean, yeah, the thing with Barry, we got to remember. Sometimes we forget a lot of these players. Barry's only been playing No Limit
Right.
Hold'em a short amount of time.
right,
I mean, he's still a pup, you know,
right.
and he's still learning the game, and obviously has a lot of leaks that he has to work on. But that, like we all do.
6-way action here. 8-5-3 with a couple spades.
Something pretty. Check.
But sometimes I forget that because we've seen so much of Barry,
Right.
or a lot of these players, and you forget. You go, oh, come on, this guy's a pro, and you go, wait a second, he's not a pro.
More fun than picking out curtains with
Solid.
Someone's moved all in here. Seat 7.
hell that, man.
He's got Jack 3. He has bottom pair here. Well, he doesn't have the best hand.
I mean, it's often a common mistake of players that are first starting out playing No Limit Hold'em or even Limit Hold'em, where they're always scared of getting bluffed out. They go, I don't want to get bluffed out. It's an ego thing, you know. They don't want to get bluffed out ever.
That's a great number, isn't it? Yeah, just because this table's been so disgusting, I'm calling it.
It looks like Jack 3 is going to take it down here. I can't see anybody calling.
No, I don't think Dan's going to call this with ace jack.
No.
Once again, if you can join us on a live thread, you go to 2plus2.com and click on forums, click on World Poker Tour and other events, and you go to the Live at the Bike thread for January 23rd. If you can't find that, you can go to liveatthebike.com and click on the link for 2plus2. It'll take you there.
Figure it out. Why big blind?
You are big.
Once again, it's really nice to see some poker being discussed on the 2plus2 thread. Over the last couple of weeks, they've been talking about everything but poker.
No, target. Target, come on.
Kind of been a little bit of a gossip for him, Dave.
And I'm all for gossip. I mean, we talk about football, we'll talk
Yeah.
about all sorts of things. But I do like a little bit of poker being discussed.
But you're good.
You're good, you. You're good, you. Don't make me gay.
Well, C-Date's got ace-king here. Ace-king offsuit. Sable is played a bit passive. So let's see what he's going to do here. He's going to raise. Makes it 20 to go.
You raised my big blind? I'm kidding. You deserve it.
He's going to take it down.
Don't raise my big blind.
And he shows the ace-king.
You deserve
So I'm not a
it.
big pro basketball fan.
Kidding.
No,
I gotta tell you.
I hate the NBA.
But did you see Kobe Bryant last night?
Well, I didn't
81
see it. I
points.
heard some of it.
I mean, is that sick?
Just goes to show you what a pitiful form of basketball the NBA is.
Right.
The one player can actually do that. You know what I mean? It's just pocket queens here for C9. I still would love to see a bunch of NBA All-Stars, not like the crap that they put together for the last international competition, but some of the best players,
Yeah.
like a Kobe and a Shaq. You would assume that those guys would win the Olympics, but they're not accustomed to playing team basketball like some of the other countries are, which is why the U.S. got beat up recently in the international competition. You know, the U.S. was also playing mediocre players that play an individual style of basketball.
Well, that's the
You
pro
know.
game has been like that for a while
Right.
now, where basically it's basically almost like a two-team game. You know, if you have two good players, you can win.
Right.
Pocket queens here for seat 9, Steve.
And look at that. Seat 3, Stephen the Magician called the 6-10 of hearts. And we're heads up queens against 6-10 of
Yeah,
hearts.
Dan is not in there. Now, you never want to see that ace when you have that with the queens, but
I mean, look at the difference between college football and college basketball and pro basketball. You know, some people say, well, I actually like college basketball better. I think they like the atmosphere of it better. But I still think that college football is a little bit kind of amateurish. The NFL is great football. It's obviously better, I think, than college football. But with basketball, college basketball is the true soul of basketball. Any team can beat any other team. They're playing, team basketball. Whereas, the NBA is just, especially the NBA regular season, Dave.
Oh,
God.
80 games.
Yeah.
God. I disagree. I do love college football. I
like it, but I like the pros better.
And I love college basketball, and I love pro football. But they call pro basketball a team sport, but it's hardly a team sport.
Right.
Although the Detroit Pistons have kind of shown us that a team can beat the individual the last couple of years.
6-way action here. It's limped around. Jack 8 deuce. Boy, a lot of people are playing pretty good hands here just for limps. Pocket 9's over there in seat 9. Limped in.
Yep.
Looks like Dan's got Jack 10. He's going to come out and bet.
It's 55.
Bets 55. And the interesting thing that you can really pick up on here is if these guys are going to come out and bet in early position,
Good luck, everyone.
every single time I see somebody come out and bet in early position, it's with a mediocre hand that they feel that they must bet and that you could easily raise them off of. And everyone's slow playing their monsters. It's an interesting pattern that you can pick up as Peter looks like he's leaving the table.
Good night to Mr. Greystoke there. Love that last name.
And sometimes you got to think, sometimes you could call. You don't necessarily even need to raise in position against some of these guys. But for an example like Dan, if I'm on the button, you could call his bet on the flop with any 2 cards and see what he does on later streets. Because chances are his hand is not going to be good enough to take large bets on future streets.
Can he lay down a hand, though? Can he lay down top pair, medium?
I think he can.
Middle kicker.
Yeah.
Okay, well. The only thing in this game that's really interesting is a lot of players aren't raising with their premium hands pre-flop.
Right.
And to me, you really, I don't want to tip off my value of my hand, but at the same time, you want to charge people a little more money to get in there. Why not get more money in the pot with your premium hands?
Well, now Dan's made a little raise out of the blind. He's got Jack 10 of clubs. Made a little pot sweetener. It's about a $45 pot here. Steven actually has King 9 over there in
He
seat
flops
3.
top pair. He's going to bet it.
Jack 10 again, 2 in a row. Bets 40. Jack 6 deuce here, rainbow.
A table like this, I actually love a table like this where pretty much you can raise in position and take it down more often than not. Here, this is one of those times where you can raise in the big blind even, bet, and even if he didn't hit the jack, which he happened to hit, as long as your opponents miss, you're going to be able to take him down.
And Dan takes it down.
Button moves over to Dan, seat 6.
Well, the other thing, if you're not going to raise with above-average hands and good hands, you're in essence giving everyone the implied odds that they're looking for with hands. If you can do tons and tons of limp pre-flop and no limit hold'em, well, your implied odds are astronomical. And like you said, at this level, there aren't a lot of players that are going to get away from hands, even in limped pots.
I got to give Peter in seat 1 a credit for being able to get away from like ace-queen with an ace on the board. But at the same time, why not raise and charge that ace-8 to get in there?
Now, seat 4 is going to raise here. He's got pocket jacks. He's going to raise to 75, Dave. Boy, if you've had aces or kings behind him, boy, a smooth call would certainly be in order here, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
with this table.
It's a big raise. And oftentimes people will over-raise with 9s, 10s, and jacks because they're kind of scared they don't know how to play them. Barry Greenstein used to actually big proponent, and so are we. If you're going to be raising, you really want to try to make your raises all the same. Otherwise, good players will pick up on the fact that you raise a certain amount with certain hands.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly the point of the.
I think the bet was all the information you said.
Button moves over here to seat 7.
Low pyramid.
Raise, make it 25.
Really? How low?
Now, the funny thing, and again, we appreciate all the comments on 2+2 about poker, as we have a raise here, seat 2. 25. Pocket jacks. Looks like he's going to take it down. But SP Surfing Michael there on the board, Dave. He says that champagne is a good complement to cigars. Now, when I was little, I never drank soda. I'm not a huge fan of drinks with carbonation. I can drink beer now, obviously, but I'm really not a huge fan of champagne because the bubbles get me. So
Really?
I'm not really into champagne.
My wife's like that. I mean, but she'll drink it. She likes champagne, but she actually will like take a spoon and kind of stir it and get some of the bubbles out. She does that with her Coke too sometimes. It's like too bubbly for her.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of carbonation. But beer carbonation really isn't the same as soda carbonation, is it? Do you think? $40 raise here.
Bubbles
by,
are bubbles, aren't they?
Seat 4, Ace Jack offsuit. Pocket Eights is going to call $40. Now, this is interesting. He's called $40 on the button. How much does Seat 4 have in front of him? Looks like he's got a good amount. So,
yeah.
Pocket Eights could play this trying to hit a set. He's also in position on Seat 4.
I don't mind this call at all.
10 deuce 3. Now, this is one of these times where it's real difficult to play if the guy bets at you. Now, you are in position.
It's also difficult for Aaron here. Now, remember, you just raised it to $40. Now, you think of this. Aaron made
he checked, but Pocket Eights didn't bet. Turns a 4.
It's interesting. Now, Aaron made it $75 pre-flop raise at Jacks, but then only made it $40 with Ace Jack, and now it's check and check.
Check again here.
Why isn't Charles betting? I mean, obviously, he survived this.
This one just gets checked down.
I don't mind checking the river, but I don't understand how you check the flop and the turn with Pocket Eights there. I mean, you have to be scared of any overcard, don't you?
Yep.
I mean, if you put your opponent because he raised you, if you put him on Ace King or Ace Queen or Ace Jack, you know, there's all those cards obviously are scary. Now, oftentimes in a game like this, you can make calls on the button in position with 8s or 7s or even small pocket pairs, not only to hit your set, but also a lot of the players don't follow through with their raises.
Right.
If they miss the flop, they'll just check it.
Well, somebody just got even.
Looks like that our $500 game there. Oh, look at that gentleman Chester there.
Oh, okay.
Fan of Live the Bike. That's
Chester
our
on
3 to
2 plus
5 game.
2?
Yeah. Is that his name in real life too? Really?
No, actually, it's
his
not
name?
his name.
That's okay.
Sorry, I looked like an idiot when I called him Chester then.
No, it's okay, because I mean, you get away with it because it's a 2 plus 2 thing.
Right. Hey, Friar Tuck, what's up?
Exactly.
Limped around there.
So you want to call 5 more? Yeah. Sorry. 6 raised it.
A little mini raise here from seat 6 from Dan.
Raised it up to $10.
Pot's $40.
Queen, Jack, 8 with a couple of hearts.
Yeah. I'll check it. Somebody's touching Let me look. Let him look again. They're the same shit.
And Dan's going to come out and bet here with King 6, a stone cold bluff. He's going to bet 30.
Good news, folks. Eric is in the house. Eric is in the house.
Who's Eric?
Eric. You don't know Eric? Eric's in seat 1 now.
Oh, okay. Dan's going to take it down there at the bluff.
There's Eric.
Oh, okay.
Good old Eric.
Eric actually usually plays in our 8-16 game on Mondays.
Yeah, he likes to live at the bike. He likes to watch. He goes back and watches and really learns from his own play.
Yeah. And
He's
why
even
wouldn't
actually
you?
said that he likes our commentary, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
One of the few, right?
Got 1 or 2 fans out there.
Right.
My mom likes it.
Your mom likes it, huh?
You know, it's funny, my mom...
Your mom likes it?
Yeah, my mom actually watched the show one day. You know what was really funny? She just bought herself an iPod, and she has no clue how to use it. So she's calling me. I'm on the phone with her for about an hour today, trying to tell her how to import songs into her computer and drag them over into the iPod and make playlists. It's just hilarious. If you ever deal with an older person and trying to teach technology to them, it just can get really funny.
7-way action here, limped around King Deuce 8. Looks like we got King 3 over here for seat 1, and he's going to come in and bet. He had posted from behind.
Look, Wild Man. He's going to bet.
Well, he bets about the pot. He's got top pair. Got checked to him. Why not?
I will.
He takes it down.
Take it down.
She just hasn't come back yet. I don't need to.
Nice orange shirt he's got on. So he's going to buy in for what is the maxi and the minimum. You have to buy in for 200 in this game, right? You can't buy in for less.
No, exactly. There's no short. No, your first buy-in must be 200. Now, once you do that, you're allowed 1 short buy, You're also allowed one, if you go down to the felt, you can buy in for 300, but your first buy-in has to be 200.
Where is it? 30.
Pocket jacks here is raised here. It's out of seat 9. Ace queen's going to call.
Now you notice he raised with queens, he
Replay.
raises with jacks, he didn't raise with nines. Okay, I mean that's nothing
Three-way
wrong with
action.
that, but you can start picking that up on that.
Well, ace queen over here for seat 2's hit top pair.
I mean, check.
Looks like seat 7's got that Sammy Farha
40.
prop thing going on.
And it's a tough little.
Joseph has come out, and Steve has bet out 40 here. Let's see what William's going to do.
Now it's enough of a bet that you should get the information you're looking for here.
Well, William calls.
William calls now. Now this, the only problem with a flop like this is: do you put your opponent on a queen, do you put him on jack 10, or do you put him on clubs?
Turns a deuce. Jax is going to bet here again. And again, you can kind of see the power of just calling with your single pair of hands in position, Dave, as opposed to raising.
And William's not going to go anywhere.
Steve's come out and bet 40 here again. And William's going to call again.
Well, William's really only got to be scared of kings and aces.
River here is a king. Ooh, that's a bad card for William. But Steve's going to check. And William's probably just going to check right behind him. What I was going to say is that, the problem sometimes with, with an ace-queen, we talk about how it's kind of a sucker hand, usually when it's dominated by ace-king, but if the guy's got an overpair like kings and aces, and that flop comes out, and then the turn is a paired turn,
Small blind.
I mean, if I had an overpair there and William kept calling and calling and calling,
Oh, you can almost overbet it.
unless I didn't think he was unless I thought he was just on a club draw or something, which I don't think he's been playing like that, yeah, you really can overbet the river.
You can overbet it anyway, though, because
Yeah.
if he's got a club draw, he's not going to call you.
Right,
And if he's got, if he's got a queen, hey, he might pay you off.
right.
Now, you see it there, the weakness of ace-queen, though. William really didn't feel like he could play it hard.
Right.
Because he didn't know where he was at. He didn't know if his opponent had kings or aces. Now, I think on the river, when the guy checks it to you, you're feeling pretty good.
Just enough to kill myself. Raise it. $15 bar.
And Dan's going to play that little mini raise here again. He's going to raise it to 15. He's got 9-10 suited. And almost every single player is in this hand right now.
Well,
Now,
building
again,
a
though,
nice
I mean,
pot.
the only problem with this for Dan is, he's building a nice pot. But again, how do you play this hand 9-10 of hearts in early position?
Yeah, I'd rather see that same raise on the button. With the same hand, same raise on the button.
$120 pot, ace, 7 deuce. And here's the problem, because if you raised it on the button and it got checked to you, you could fire out here with ace, 7 deuce on the board. Now he's not going to fire out into all the people.
And this pot is $120.
Right,
He can't bet out here.
right.
Well, he can, but
And look at it, it got checked around. The turns of 4. Look at Steve did not bet with the ace 9. And again, you can see the difference right there.
20.
And Adam's going to come out and bet 20 with what his
20?
second pair. Yeah, 20 into a $120 pot.
now if you're Steve there, you got to realize that your hand is probably good. Calls for a nice raise, doesn't it?
It's almost like the bet is so small that you're going to be pricing people in with any pair.
Well, look at
with
Charles.
ace
Charles
9.
has got 6-8. He's got a gut
Well,
shot
Steve
straight
just
draw.
calls.
And you know what? If a 5 comes off here,
Look at this. Seat number 1, Eric's going to call with 3s.
he figures, hey, if I hit a 5 or I hit a 3, now if a 5 comes off,
Right.
Eric could be in a lot of trouble because he'll have a wheel.
Well, the river is an 8.
Wow.
And look at this Charles. Oh, no, he made a pair
Steve
of
has still got
8s.
the best hands.
And he gets checked to him, and now he's going to bet. He
Now
bets
he bets?
100. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
He didn't raise there on the turn, but
I mean,
now
I
he's
would
going
have
to
been
bet the river.
I would have been scared that somebody might have called the turn with 5-6. But obviously, and he's going to show the 9. And he wins a pretty big pot there. I want to say that pot was probably close to $200.
Yeah.
Look at how close were those $5 chips. Not quite as pretty as the $100 chips or the $50 chips, but money nonetheless.
And the button's going to move over here to seat number 5.
You can catch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 live at the bike.
5 players.
For anybody new to the show, Monday is usually a limit game or a small no-limit game. Tuesday is kind of a mixed game. Tomorrow night's going to be a 3 to 5 game. But Wednesday's our big game. We've got a 25-50 no-limit game. And Friday's also our big game. We have 10-20 game.
9-4-3 here.
$5.
That's a nice bet.
And we got a $5 bet here by Adam with King 3. Well, there you go.
5 players.
And 5 players call.
Turns of 10. Dan,
Well, if everybody calls that, is there any? I mean, maybe do you push hard now? Maybe
well, look
$50?
at this. Dan, he's picked up an open-ended straight draw with Queen Jack. Oh, now Adam's going to bet again.
30 times.
He's going to bet 30.
No, he bets 30. Now, and
Dan's
Dan's
gonna
going to call. Overcards and a straight draw.
And look at Joe. He's going to call. He's got a double gutter there to the
He
5
does,
and
yeah,
to the
5
8.
and an 8.
3 players.
Now an 8 would be no good though.
And the
And-
river
uh-oh.
is an 8, and we got 2 straights, but Dan's got the nut straight. Joe's got the lower end
Now
of it.
Joe doesn't have much money there, but I'm imagining it's all going in.
Dan's going to bet. Bets 50.
I'm all out. Okay, take back 10.
And Joe is only had 40 left, and Dan's going to bust him right now.
Yeah, straight over straight there. Maybe Joe's gonna go out and smoke that cigarette.
You know, Dave, there's a discussion on the board, on the 2+2 board, going about whether you want to bet somebody off of a draw in no limit or bet an amount that they shouldn't call and kind of price them in with their draws.
Well, there's school for thought there, food for thought here. I remember when I first started playing no limit tournaments, I was almost scared. I almost always wanted to end it, and I'd end up over betting the pot oftentimes. And more often than not, people would just throw away their draws or throw away any hand that was
Right.
even reasonable. But I never won a lot of money, and in tournaments, it was hard for me to accumulate a lot of chips because nobody was ever calling me. So obviously, I mean, to me, you know,
Grab my 5 back.
as long as you make
Calls.
somebody pay an incorrect price for their draw,
Yeah.
you're winning in the long run. You know, whether you win that hand or not is really not important, right?
4-way action here. Queen 9-3 with a couple clubs. Adam had raised it up pre-flop, and he's going to make a continuation bet here with ace-9. He's got second pair with an overcard kicker. And Dan is going to raise 45 here on the button. And Aaron is going to call. You know, Dan actually kind of plays this a little like limit, Dave, where he's raising constantly with top pair regardless of kicker, which isn't necessarily, you know, a bad thing at this level, but sometimes can get you in trouble when you're deeper stacked later on, right?
Definitely.
Turns at king.
I check. I'm the first.
Yes, I'm winning on that.
I mean, it's all relative, obviously. You know, hey, if you're buying it for $200 and you lose $200,
Right.
you know, that's your whole stack.
And Aaron made the overcall there with Queen 10 of hearts, Dave. And again, these people are married to these top pairs, you know, single pair hands, and the river's a deuce. And Queen 10 is good right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam bet, Dan raised. What, would you stay in there with Queen 10 of hearts on that flop?
Queen.
Queen 10.
Queen.
I would in this case,
10 kicker.
because it's good. But only here.
Well, I mean, the other argument you might be able to make is Adam's continuing to bet. Dan might be raising only with a 9 there, thinking that the guy's just making a continuation bet. And I might have the best hand with Queen 10.
Yeah, no, definitely an argument there. Now, back to this question you were asking me. Now, to me, I mean, you can't be scared to play post-flop. And you can't be scared to play the turn and even the river and keep betting. But at the same time, you know, obviously I don't want to price my opponents in.
Right,
You know, I don't want to give them the right odds, the correct odds to go for their draws.
right.
I want to make them pay for it.
15.
Oftentimes people will incorrectly overpay for their flush draw, their straight draw, or even their two-pair draw.
Seat 6 is going to raise it up to 15 here. And we got a bunch of callers.
5 players.
5-way action. 5-7-5 here. And we got a 5 in the hand. It's Aaron in seat 4.
Yep.
And Eric's going to come out and bet here with the flush draw and overcards. Let's see how Aaron plays this connected board. Boy, Dave, what else is new? He just calls with trip 5s.
You got to be scared. I mean, this kind of board here. Do you really want to slow play 9-5?
Well, Dan is still in the hand here with 3-4. He's got a gut shot. He folds.
I mean, if any card between, say, you know, 3 and 8
well,
comes
there's
up,
the ace, and that gives Eric the nut diamonds.
yeah, or a diamond.
And Eric's going to bet out here again. Where heads up here, 9-5 of clubs against King 9 of diamonds. He's going to bet 75. And Aaron looks like he is going to call once again. Aaron needs the board a pair or a 9, and look at this, it's a 9, and Aaron fills up.
And that's the best card.
And Eric moves the rest of his chips in, and obviously Aaron's going to call. He made a full house, and he's going to bust Eric.
Yeah.
Wow. And I was going to say, Eric's got one of the 9s in his hand. Unbelievable.
Hey, obviously he needed an ace, a 7, or a 9 there. Or, I'm so sorry, the case 5.
Here's a question here on 2+2 by Postmark. He says, Bart and David, do you guys have personal websites? David's doesn't look like it belongs to him, and Bart, if I'm spelling Hansen correctly, is yours for sale?
300 behind 1.
Well, scoop it up. And yes, my name is spelled S-O-N, the Swedish version. Not
Are
the
you
Norwegian.
Swedish?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
S-O-N.
How silly of me. I should have just known.
Bud moves over here to seat 8.
$10.
Little $10 raise here by Dan. Again, little pot sweetener, Jack 9 of diamonds. Well, this time, he's one off the cutoff. Maybe he could raise that up to 15 or 20 and maybe buy himself the button. But he only raised it to 10.
Seat 1's got pocket deuces, though. And every single time somebody's had deuces tonight, a set has come. So here it comes.
Oh, here we go to the flop.
Deuce.
8-way action, $80 pot. No, not this time. Jack 10-4. Now, Dan's hit top pair here, and he raised pre-flop. He's going to come out and bet here again.
Now, this kind is raising pre-flop with a hand like this is a gap-suited connector.
Right.
That's 40.
But he's in late position. Much more powerful. He doesn't actually necessarily need to hit the hand to bet it.
He continued to bet here. And he's going to take it down. And again, we want to say hello to Dan's family if they're watching.
I mean, it's funny, the argument that they're making, they're talking about, pushing, hard when you think you've got it and only getting called when you're beaten.
Right.
Obviously, we see that many times in the small no-limit games where people are somewhat scared to play. My wife, actually, sometimes she'll play no-limit tournaments, and you can see she's almost afraid to play flops.
Right.
So she ends up over-pushing the pot, and sure enough, she only gets called when she's beat. And she also has a very hard time accumulating chips because she's never getting called.
She's probably playing ultra tight as well, right?
She's playing, tight and but almost overly... Right. I want to say almost overly aggressive in the sense that, it's hard to say overly aggressive, but almost like, pushing too hard.
Ace 5-10 here on the flop. Pot was limped around.
25.
Seat 8's going to come out and bet here with King 10, second pair. He's got the best hand. And seat 7's got Queen Jack. He's got a gut shot. We don't have it up there. Charles is bet with King 10. Seat 7's got Queen Jack off suit. And he's going to make the call. We're heads up, King 10 against Queen Jack. Turn here is an 8. And now Queen Jack is double gutted. He can catch a 9, and it goes check, check, and the river is an 8.
And he missed. And King 10's going to win this,
Yeah.
He just gives up there.
Yeah.
There's an argument. Some people will make the argument that, well, if I'm never called, I can never lose, right? But if you're never called, you can never make any money.
Yeah. No, there definitely is a sense. I wish we could take a look at another chip.
What happened to the Magician's money?
Magician's gone down. He's gone down almost, half of his money. He's down 600.
He made his money go poof.
Magician's money's disappeared. Dan's got 600. He's up a little bit. He's probably up about 200 for the night.
This game is almost playing like a 3-5 game in the sense that the blinds are pretty much, it's the 3 and 5, which is pretty much $5 anyway, and everybody's pretty much got about $500.
$20 raise here by Miklos, or that's not Miklos, that's Joe. We hadn't changed that. $20, pocket tens. Seat 9 calls the King 10 of diamonds. Seat 2, now he's played it, tight all night, Dave, but look at this. He's called in the small line with Ace 9 off suit. And Seat 5 is in there. We can't quite see what he has. Here we go. Ace 5 Jack. Couple spades.
Williams got top pair here.
Well, Adam's got a flush draw. He's got 6-8 of spades. That's the hand that we can't see.
I want to thank Surfing Illini on 2+2 for that sexy picture of those Steeler fans.
Well, Joe's not going to bet here, Dave. with tens, and it gets checked around. Let's see if William comes out and bets now with the ace-9.
Now, Adam's actually got a bigger draw here. He's got a gut shot straight draw plus the flush draw.
Now, William bets 45, and here, you know, almost kind of a clear-cut example. If Adam were to raise, you could get a hand like ace-9 off of it.
Yeah, I don't know if Adam has enough money to get him off it, though.
Oh, he just calls.
Just going to call anyway, okay.
Well, I guess if you're going to continue with the hand as a draw, maybe you just call there if you're short to try to induce other people to call behind you, right? If you don't think the semi-bluff will work.
Although in this case, you don't really want Steve to call behind you because now if a 7 that with diamonds were to hit, you're not good.
Right. Double suited board here. Here we go to the river. And the river is an offsuit 7, and he gets there.
Yeah.
That would have been something, Dave, if a 7 of diamonds had come. And William's going to come out, and he's going to bet again.
Well, you know, he thought his hand was the best on the flop on the turn.
He bets 80.
And he only got called. And this is obviously, I don't think Adam has that much money here. Adam's going to move the rest of it in.
Yeah. I still, and he's going to take it down with a straight. And again, I don't think that we've pointed this out, but it's kind of a theme to the way that I feel about playing these games recently. You know, betting with marginal hands on the river, especially from up front against a player that's somewhat deep, like the guy in seat 9, boy, it's tough because, I mean, do you really want to get raised there?
Yeah, you and I we always argue about this, and we differ on that opinion. I really think that if you don't bet those rivers, and you fall into the pattern of only betting your monsters or your bluffs, a savvy player will pick up on that.
Well, no, I mean, I buy into that somewhat as well, but again, I mean, we're talking about doing, analysis for this particular game. I don't even know if you have savvy enough players to pick that up in the bigger games.
Right, no, exactly. I'm just wondering, to me, I don't mind value betting the river just like in a limit hold'em game. And if I get raised, whether it be limit or no limit, I then reevaluate my hand. And if I think a player is not capable of making a bluff raise, then I can safely throw my hand away.
Right.
And if I do get raised, well, then I have to, obviously cross that bridge when I come to it.
Well, like you said, often players will play like that, and if you can eliminate a monster or a bluff, you know what the alternative is. They either have a monster or a bluff that they're betting on the river. So if you can eliminate one of those.
Like, let's look at this flop right here. Okay, this flop here is we'll get it up there in a second for you. It's 10-7 deuce of diamonds.
Dan's going to come out and he's going to bet with ace-7.
Now, would somebody with, like, say, a set of 7s who was a good player slow play this kind of flop?
Probably not.
Probably not. It's kind of scary, right? It's connected. There's 2 diamonds out there. So if later on they're trying to represent a set of 7s, it'll be very difficult for me to believe them. I'll be more likely to believe they're bluffing.
Now, Charles just called with top pair. Turns a 9. Dan checks, and Charles is going to bet here with top pair and now a straight draw. That's 45.
Now, obviously, all this analysis and over-analysis really is only pertinent if you know your opponents, which obviously no limit is hugely important. You have to know who you're playing against, how they play, what kind of hands they raise with, what kind of hands they're in there with, and so forth. One of the reasons I'm always amazed that people play online so much.
It doesn't take a whole lot.
And it looks like Dan's going to get away from it here.
C1 call.
Oh, because you don't think you can get a great feel for...
Maybe some people can. Some people claim that they know all the players they play against online. But, I don't know. My wife actually plays under my names, and I play under my name, so how can you know who's even playing? I just think knowing your opponents is so important, and even more so in no limit hold'em. Limit hold'em, we often say how it's a little more mechanical game.
Right.
Pocket kings here for Aaron.
Seat 4. He's in the small blind. We get about less than an hour left in the show.
Raise it. Raise it. Let's make it 50.
And he's going to raise it up to 50. Big raise, pocket kings.
45 more.
45 to go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Seat 5 looks like he's going to fold, I would imagine.
Probably not enough to call that.
He's got 4-6 offsuit.
Yeah, not enough to call that.
And is William going to get involved here? He's got an ace-10 of diamonds. No.
For 50 bucks.
Lays it down. No, I mean, it's obviously the right lay down. I'm just surprised.
No. Keep that. That's yours. That's for the jackpot.
You're pretty absurd.
Once again, we're live at the bike, folks, watching No Limit Hold'em, blinds with 3 and 5. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. You can catch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m.
He would have put you all in anyway, so.
Buttons over here in seat 4 in this hand.
$5 come in.
Again, we're playing 3-5 blinds. Yellow chips are $5 chips. Blue chips are $1 chips.
I'll raise.
Raise it.
Limped around. And seat 5 is going to raise here. He's going
Raise
to raise
it
to
up.
15 with King Queen offsuit. Another case, Dave. I mean, King Queen offsuit, you're going to raise to 15. You're not going to drive anybody out.
Everybody always calls.
See how he's going to play.
Well, notice how $50 with kings,
Right.
75 with jacks, 15 with king queen.
Ace, 8, jack with a couple of clubs. Now, Steven over there in seat 3, he's got a flush draw. He's got 5, 6 of clubs.
30.
Seat 5's going to come out, and he's going to bet 30.
Yeah. At this point, if I had a draw, I would go all in, and not even a flush draw.
Now, if Steven were to raise this draw of his instead of just call, he'd probably take it down right here and now.
He's going to call.
No,
We're heads up.
You know, obviously
Turns
it
an
takes
ace.
some, cojones to really raise with just a draw, but that's what you've got to do to be successful in No Limit Hold'em. You can't just be calling and hoping to hit.
We're heads up here. Adam against Steven in seat 3 with 6, 5 of clubs. Aaron is not in the hand.
But Adam's going to continue betting, and he takes it down.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sit while we're young.
There you go, Adam. Adam fires 2 bullets. He really has had absolutely nothing there. He had no pair. And takes it down.
Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com.
Hey, did you check out the Bluff magazine poll? We are in the Dropbox now.
That's right, bluffmagazine.com/reader's choice. Check it out. Vote for your favorite poker elements, poker room, poker players, poker commentators, and poker broadcasts, although we're under mixed commentary.
And what's that all about?
I don't know.
Who's mixed? What's mixed about it? It's just funny. World Poker Tour, Mike Sexton and Vince Van Patten, live at the bike, mixed commentary. Who's mixed?
7-way action here, ace, 3, queen. Some guy on the 2+2 board last week when I pointed that out said, he's like, yeah, you guys should be on the Dropbox for your show, but take it easy, but settle down. You commentators shouldn't be listed. And I'm like, why not?
I mean, you don't have to vote for us.
Right.
That's obviously up to you. I was just surprised that we were mixed commentary.
Right.
I missed one day. Denny's been here once in the last 9 months.
Right.
Suddenly we're mixed.
Got checked around here. Seat 5's got ace, 6 offsuit. He's going to bet 20. And Dan's going to call with in seat number 6. He's got queen 5. We don't have it up there. And we're heads up between ace, 6 and queen 5.
That's right again.
There we go. Turn here is a 10. It's a third diamond. Adam's got the 6 of diamonds in his hand. It goes check. And the river's a 4. Adam against Dan.
Adam's got the best hand here.
I got a faith in you. You're going to give me one.
Yeah, exactly.
Real pressure right there.
And it just gets checked down. The ace is going to take it down.
Take it down. Adam.
Yeah.
I probably would have got any more action out of you anyway.
I had an interesting thing happen to me. I was playing No Limit the other day, and it wasn't actually me in the hand, but I watched somebody do this. And it was a similar hand like any. It was nothing really crazy about the hand. But at the end of it, the first player to act actually turned his hand over. He said, I check, and he turned his hand over. He thought the next player had checked. And the next guy goes, what are you doing? I didn't check yet. And the ruling was, well, you can act on your hand. What do you want to do? You still see. Well, the guy then bet $200 into about a $200 pot.
Yeah.
Now the first player actually had 2 pair. What do you do? The guy's looking at your cards and he bet $200 into you.
Check around.
Limped around, checked around. Ace 10-4 turns an 8. Queen Jack is now double gutted in seat number 2.
$60.
And seat 7's going to move all in here. He's got 2 pairs. He's got 10-4 in seat 7. We don't have the cards up there.
Over and out.
Yep.
3 times, yeah.
There you go. He's thinking about it, too. He was still thinking about it.
And he takes it.
10-4 is going to take it down.
Appreciate that. That was a queen I would have
Seat 7 there. Joseph takes it down. He doesn't have much money there. Really put the guy in a precarious spot. I mean, the board was whatever. I think he had like king 9 and he had 2 pair. And there was a flush on the board. There was a possible straight on the board. And this guy then bet $200 on the river. And the guy with king 9 is sitting there looking at him and goes, "Are you kidding me? You're going to bet?" And he goes, "Hey, I didn't act in my hand. I get to act."
I think we saw Men the Master do that once on this show.
Did he?
Many months ago.
And you kind of wonder now, is the guy... I mean, obviously you see his hand. Are you betting because you want to call, or are you betting because you have to bet?
So what happened? Did the guy call?
The guy actually called him, begrudgingly, threw $200 in there, and the guy turned over a straight.
Ace 7 8 here on the flop. Set of 8s over there for seat 4. He's got set of 8s. And he's going to actually come out and bet here with middle set.
There you go. Bet his hand. The interesting thing was that...
And look at this. The button here is going to move all in. Seat number
7. Ace 6. You got a top pair.
Yep.
And he's in really bad shape.
Yeah, he's going to need to catch a running full house here or a running spades. Pocket 8s against ace 6. Seat 7 against seat 4.
Pot's about $200 down.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
What?
So it's just us. Do we flip them?
You can.
Let's flip them. 1, 2, 3.
I got a flush draw.
You got 3 8s.
Gee, you got me beat by a
Joe said he had a flush draw.
Right.
Well, he does have a flush draw, I suppose. Not anymore.
Turns of 4. Rivers of 7.
No, an 8's full is going to take it down. 8's full of 7s here. Take it down.
So there you go. Aaron actually bet his set there and then didn't get scared off on the turn, or maybe... Well, you got to assume the way that went down, if you checked it, the button was going to bet with ace 6 anyways. But, it's just a good example of...
Well, it's a good example. I mean, in terms of that time, Joseph actually didn't have much money.
Right.
But if he was deep, it's still a good example of betting his
Like a
hands.
man who's been to the meeting.
Now, the interesting thing about that hand, though, where the guy bet the river after he saw that the fella had 2 pair. Now, the card that brought his straight, I think he had queen jack, and the board was like king 9, and the river brought a 10, but it was a 3rd spade or something like that. You wonder if the guy would have bet it, having back into the straight, even though there was a flush on board.
Right.
So.
Seat 8's going to raise here. It's going to make it 25 to go. He's got ace jack offsuit.
Raising at 25.
And C2's going to call with ace 5 of diamonds. He is dominated.
You call?
I call. I can gamble.
4 players.
And jack 8 of hearts is in there. We get 3-way action here. It's a $75 pot. Here we go. 9-6 deuce. Aaron's not in the hand. And looks like ace jack continues to be the best hand here. And it gets checked around the turn to king. And this one's going to get checked around again. Now, if Charles has bet the flop, he probably would have taken it down, although his hand is good right now. And the ace-jack will play if it does not get bet by anyone. And it's going to get checked around, and 6s with an ace, king, jack kicker is going to play. There you go.
6s with an ace, king, jack.
Jack is going to play, and Charles is going to take it down. Email here from Jody Atilino. How do you say that, Dave? God, I have so much troubles with last names. Adelano? Adelano. Hi, guys. Hey, I'm Dan's #1 fan. Dan in seat 6. And I always hear you guys always give a shout out to Dan's family. So big hello to you guys from Dan's girlfriend, Jody, in Illinois.
In Illinois?
Yeah. Lived around. Buttons over here in seat 9.
She's in Illinois?
Apparently.
Wow.
5-way action, limped around. Queen 9 deuce here. Jack 10 of spades open-ended. We get a flush draw over there in seat 1 with Jack 7 of hearts.
Now this is one of the rare times where Jack 10 of spades I might actually stay in there because the 9 of spades is out there also. You know, I don't usually like to go for straight draws with a 2 flush on the board.
Well, Button's going to bet here. He's going to bet with the open-ended straight draw. Again, the board is Queen 9 deuce with 2 hearts. And seat 1 with Jack 7 of hearts is going to call. Turn here is a king, and Jack 10 makes it.
He makes it, and he has a great redraw, obviously.
Yeah.
40.
He's got the spade draw. Eric still has the flush draw. We're heads up, seat 1 against seat 9.
Eric is still drawing live here. Eric
checks.
needs a 10 to chop it up or a heart to win it.
Actually, yeah, Eric's going to check call here. Here we go to the river. The river's a 5. Does not get there.
The government's always watching this, so let's see what
5 of diamonds on the river. There it is.
Well, he has the nuts here, doesn't he?
60.
He's going to bet 60. And Steve is going to take it down.
Take it down, Steve.
Is this cigarette more for looks or just?
No. I'm actually having a Nick fit.
For the second on the nicotine, I don't.
Yeah, it helps.
And the button moves over here to seat 1.
Small blind is $3. Big blind is $5. First to act is seat 4, Aaron.
Oh, God, it is the most disgusting thing.
Does it work?
Oh, God, it does. But
Okay.
I did
Got a
not
little
know
over
this
half an hour
cigarette.
left in the show.
As soon as I drank it, oh, it's nice lemon water.
Yeah.
Force it down.
Pocket 7s in seat 5 for Aaron. I'm sorry, for
When
Adam.
your stomach drops, it feels like you just chewed on coal.
See 5 players here, $20 pot.
Like you just drank some
Queen
coal,
10
it's
5.
your
No,
stomach
Queen
is
10
stirring
6.
with
Sorry,
the
Rainbow.
pepper going.
Check around.
And best hand right now is seat 2, William, with a 10. And now he's got trip 10s. And William's got trip 10s here. Not much of a kicker, but he's in really good shape.
It was my fault, though. I drank
Again, the board is
water on
Queen
empty
6
stomach
10
and I just
10.
smoked cigarettes, so my head got light
I bet.
instantly.
And
Wow.
2
And
players. Well, Adam bet it. And look at the river there. Wow.
Wow, River's a 7, and Adam has filled up here, and he's got a higher. He's filled up here on the river.
Yeah, and Adam has 7s full of 10s, and William's got trip 10s.
But Adam had folded, so it didn't
Oh.
matter.
Yeah, well, after I must.
Sorry about the excitement. I get really excited here, folks. Sorry. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
I know. He's probably having a big fit.
Yeah, he probably would. All right, ladies, deal me in, Brian, because I gotta smoke this.
That was somewhat funny, guys. Sorry about that. Once again, we are live,
Button moved over here.
unedited,
to seat 2.
unscripted. Obviously, I thought seat 5 was still in there with a 7.
Right.
What's on your thoughts?
Here we go. We've got 3-way action here.
Limped around.
Queen 3 Jack with a couple of hearts.
Erickson well in command of this hand.
Usual thoughts? All right.
And it looks like it's going to get checked over to him, and he's going to bet.
How much? 60.
He bets 60.
Oh, that cracks me up. I got all excited. I really thought.
Anytime you do crossover to play-by-play, Dave, you just...
I know. I fall apart. I saw you were reading a couple of emails, and I looked up and I'm seeing trip 10s, and then I see the 7 on the river, and I'm getting all excited.
Looks like the button here is in seat number 2, or seat number 3.
He was just setting it up for me to knock it down. No problem.
It looks like there's a whole bunch of garbage out here, Dave. Once again. Limp here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gotten real passive this game right now. We got 6 ways.
6-way action. Ace-Queen over there in seat 1 did not raise. 7-7-9. And Queen 7 over here for seat 5's got trip 7s.
6 player?
Now let's see if anyone's going to bet here. Nobody bets. Turn is a 5. Again, seat 5 has Queen 7. Board is 7-7-5. 7-7-9. Turns a 5 of hearts. We got a $10 bet here by Adam with Queen 7. Boy, I guess he doesn't think there's any way he can ever lose this hand. Dan's going to call with Ace 8. Wow. He's got a gut shot. And William calls with King 8. And here we go to the river. The river's a jack. That's no help. And let's see how much Adam's going to bet here now. He didn't bet. He checked it.
20.
And now William's going to put a bluff bet in here in seat 2. So Adam checked the river.
I'll raise.
And he's going to check raise here. I mean, are there cards? I mean, how about 8-10? 8-10 would beat you, but he's going to check raise here with Queen 7. And I really have no idea what you would get called with when you check raise there, but I guess Adam just thought that there was no way he possibly could have lost that hand. Check the flop, bet 10 on the turn, and then check raise the river when a reasonable draw might have gotten there with 8-10. So, there you go. Button's going to move over here to seat 4. Pocket queens here for seat 4 on the button. And he's going to raise it up. This guy's played pretty ABC all night long. He's going to make it 40 to go. And it looks like he's going to take it.
Good.
There you go.
Flop will kill me.
Oh, okay.
And the button moves over here to seat 5. Seat 7 is the big blind.
That is a Wayne Fang for a second.
Limp here. Ace-10 offsuit for seat 9. Limped around again. Really giving our card guy, Ronnie, a real exercise tonight. Ace-King deuce here. 3-4 clubs in seat number 7. Wheel draw, club draw. But look at Dan's hand. He's got top pair in the nut club draw. He bets 15. Joe calls. And seat 9's going to raise with top pair. And Dan's hand is big here. Ace-King deuce with 2 clubs. A bet, a call, and a raise by Steve with ace-10, top pair, mediocre kicker. Dan calls, and Joe calls. So we got 3-way action here. Here we go to the turn. The turn's a 6. Ace-10 is still good. Pot is about, I want to say about 200, and only a $50 bet. $50 bet here by Steve. Dan's going to call again. And let's see what Joe does here. Joe calls again, once again, too. Pot now about 350 as we go to the river. And the river is a club, and that gives Dan the nut flush and Joe a smaller flush. The pot is about $300. Joe's got about 150 left. Steve can't like that card. Let's see what Dan's going to bet here. He bets 50. And Joe's just going to call. He just calls. Dan's going to take down a $400 pot here, folks. I don't think there's any way that Steve can overcall here. Well, he's thinking about it. Again, ace-10. Just isn't a whole lot you can beat. And Dan's going to take it down with a higher flush. Nut flush. Joe shows him the smaller flush. And Dan takes it down. There you go, Dan. Way to go. About a $400 pot. Dan on a roll. He loves live at the bike. Button's going to move over him in seat 6.
Flop the turn.
You had to get the straight flush.
You have the straight on where? The turn? On the river.
On the river. He almost got a straight flush at the end.
King, queen offsuit here for seat 5. Seat 5's going to raise.
Maybe I should have gone.
I was holding. I wanted the button. I bought the button.
$20 raise here by seat 5. And we got to see a couple callers. So seat 5's going to raise it up here with King Queen. King Deuce Deuce. He's hit top pair. Now Williams got pocket 5s. And let's see if Adam's going to continue on. He is going to bet. He's going to bet 30.
Williams got 2 pair.
Yes. See how Williams going to play it.
Adams got 2 pair.
Praying you weren't on that flush draw.
Adams 2 pair are better than Williams 2 pair.
How very observant.
Yeah.
And Williams going to call. He's going to check call here.
Only one overcard out there, huh?
Turns 6.
Oh, so close to a 5, but not a 5.
And it goes check, check, and the river's a 9.
Wow.
Not quite sure why Adam, well, maybe. Again, you know.
And now he bets.
Dave, there are techniques to checking the turn with a pretty good hand to control pot size, but in this game, when you guys, when everyone isn't really that deep, I don't really know if there's much value to it. You know, if you were $10,000 deep, maybe you could check the turn there with King Queen.
Well, I just don't understand the point of checking the turn there.
Right.
You really want to let the spade get there?
And Williams going to pay him off, though, anyways.
Well,
he can only beat a pure bluff.
Yeah, well, he can't beat a king. He can't beat the spade
Yeah.
now. I mean, I'm not sure why. I can understand paying off the river. If the spade doesn't come on the river, I can understand paying off then, but
Right,
it makes
right.
sense. I'm looking at this post from Surfing the Line. And just so Surfing the Line and 2+2 knows, I actually have nothing wrong with Illinois either. I love Illinois. Big fan of the state. I was just curious why his girlfriend was in Illinois, and he's out here.
Take a look at that. Nice. Wow.
That was my only question. But Illinois is a good state.
Yeah.
Cool place.
What's Illinois' state nickname?
I don't know.
I understand. Probably talking to his girlfriend.
Land of Lincoln?
No. It's something state, isn't it? Like Massachusetts is the Bay State, New York is the
Empire State.
Empire State. Pennsylvania is the
The Windy State.
The Windy State.
Illinois, the Windy State?
I don't know. We'll see. California, of course, the Golden State, right?
Talking of wind, can you believe the wind out here right now?
Oh, it's crazy.
Supposedly we've got like 75, 80 mile an hour gusts going
Wow,
on.
you know what? Illinois is the prairie state. I don't know if I've ever heard that. It's just Illinois, you never hear of what that state nickname is.
Well, if
you
your
know
nickname is
Indiana is
Prairie State.
the Hoosier State, Oklahoma is the Sooner State, Iowa is the Hawkeye State, but the Prairie State volunteers, Tennessee. 10-3-3 here. Limped around. We got trip 3s over there for seat 9.
Ooh, and trip 3s for seat number 4.
Jack 3 and 6-3. And seat 4 is going to bet.
Well, he bets. He bet his set before.
Yeah, he bet his set. He bet his trips. And I bet you this guy thinks he's going to trap here. There's 2 diamonds. He's going to call.
And he's in bad shape here. Kicker will play. The Jack is going to play,
The
probably.
only issue, though, too, is we talk about, well, the turn's a diamond. It's a deuce. We're heads up.
And neither player has one, sorry.
I want to keep this board up. And look at this. He's going to bet right in now. He check called. And Aaron's going to call here. And the river's a jack, and Aaron fills up. And Steve is going to come out and bet again.
And do you move all in here if you're Aaron?
I think you definitely get a raise.
I mean, do you move all in and really overbet it, thinking the guy's probably got a 3 or the guy's got diamonds and he can't get away from it? Remember, the guy called you and now bet and bet.
Yep.
I mean, at this point here, I almost think that why not overbet it? If the guy's bluffing, he's not going to even call a small raise. But
Yep.
there's a good chance he's got a pretty big hand. And when I say a big hand, I mean he's got probably a 3 or diamonds. And either one I can beat.
I'm all in.
And he's going to move all in here. The pot's 225 plus another maybe 200. 425, 225 to call. And Steve can't beat a flush here or a higher 3. And could somebody at this level muck trip 3s? Obviously, without the diamond there, I don't think there's any way you would muck it. But C4's moved all in.
I like the raise.
And actually, you know what? Steve's got 100 left. The pot is about 400. It's 100 to call.
So the problem with it is you're looking at this hand. Okay, his 6 plays. Actually, 6 doesn't play. It's 3 3s, Jack 10.
Yeah.
So you can't beat, obviously, a 3 with anything
Bigger
over than a
kicker.
Jack.
Right.
You would chop it up with a 3-9, 3-8, 3-7, and so forth. You know, is there any way your hand can be good and actually win this pot?
No.
Did he make the call?
Got a full house.
He made the call, and Aaron's going to take it down there at the full house.
And
it
he
looks
called,
like
he
seat
flipped
nine's
him
out of
over.
there. Yep.
He flipped him over really.
It's about a
kind
$500
of adamantly.
pot there. What I was going to say was, if we leave that board up there, we talk about sometimes how when you have trips but you're concerned about your kicker, depending on what type of trips you have, how is your kicker going to play? Now, with this case, for Aaron, it makes it a little more complicated because the guy's in the blind. So if he's out in the field and you think he has trip threes and for some reason you have jack three, unless he has ace three, I'm pretty confident that I'm not worried about my kicker, right?
The problem is there's a lot of people like to play those ace rags
Right,
suited. So
right.
you got to go, okay, well, the guy's probably got 4-3, 5-3, or ace 3.
Right. Or maybe even deuce three. You never
Or deuce
know.
3, right. And deuce 3 actually would have been a full house anyway.
Yeah. Wow, I'm looking at a lot of these state nicknames that I didn't even know of. Like Idaho?
Idaho, of course, is the gem state.
Right, you knew that.
Of course I knew that. Idaho.
Limped around
Good
here.
old Ketchum, Idaho. I met a cute blonde chick there when I was like 12.
Six-way action. Ace 7-9. Wow, look at this. Two people have two pair. Ace 7 for seat 2. Ace 9 for seat 4. Seat 4 is on fire. He's got top 2. Williams got top and bottom. And everybody checks it. The turn's a king.
Why didn't Aaron bet his hand this time?
I know. I don't know why he didn't bet his hand.
Didn't he just notice that betting his hand last time worked?
And now Williams going to come out and bet, and Aaron's just going to call. He just calls now. The turn's a king.
Wow, and everybody's calling this.
Dan's going to call with king 6. Joe's going to call with an open-ended straight draw. Why is Aaron slow playing now?
I don't understand it. A lot of cards can really scare him.
Here we go, $150 pot. And the river is a king, and Dan makes trip kings. He wouldn't even been in there. Unbelievable. And it gets checked over to Dan, and he's going to bet. He bet 60.
And look, Williams sick too. William thinks, I can't even beat. I mean, now Williams got 2 pair, and his 7 is garbage.
Yep, he folds.
And Aaron can barely beat anything either.
I mean, we were just talking about how Aaron has actually bet his hand the whole time, and he folds.
Well, he laid it down.
Unbelievable.
Aaron laid it down. I'm only wondering if Aaron thought maybe his hand wasn't that strong. He didn't realize the value of top 2 pair. Because he kind of played it very meekly. I mean, he checked it, then he just called in the river. He just threw it away.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some that are really interesting, like Missouri. I've always known as the show me state.
I knew that too. Yeah. But did you know what Montana was?
Montana is hold on, the treasure state.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah,
isn't
you
it?
knew that just because I didn't flash by it.
Wait, you're not even on it. Come on, give me some credit. Go to Montana. Am I right?
You're right.
Boom. Give it to me.
How about Wyoming?
Wyoming. Oh, that's got to be like the Brokeback State, isn't it?
Actually, it's the equality state because I think they were the first to give women the right to vote. I think.
Montana. I love Montana. I can't wait to.
Limped around here.
I'm looking to buy land in Montana.
Really?
Yeah, I love Montana.
10-7-5 here. Couple diamonds. Ace King suited.
Buy tons of land. And
Wow, look
horses.
at the flop here. Seat 4's got 8-9 of diamonds. The flop is 10-7-5 with 2 diamonds.
I'm trying to talk here, Bart.
And Aaron just check calls here. William bets with top pair 10 deuce. Aaron check calls. He's got an open-ended straight flush draw. 10-7-5 with 2 diamonds. We're heads up 10 deuce against 8-9 of diamonds. The turn is an 8. Now Aaron has a pair of flush draw and an open-ended straight flush draw. Aaron checks again, and William's going to bet again. He bets 25, and Aaron just check calls again.
You got to look. If you hit your hand, is there really any value
And he
there?
never made it. The river's a 3.
Yeah, wow. And you look at Williams' hand. Williams' hand was such garbage.
Right.
If you raise at any moment, you can win the hand.
Unbelievable.
Man, a draw like that, how do you not go for it? Wow.
Huge draw.
Only got about 25 minutes left in our show tonight.
Yep.
If you have any questions or comments or criticisms or interesting little quirks about yourself, please email us at live@thebike.com.
Look at this email here by Mike Feynman. He says, when you're calculating your odds to hit draws after flops, either to price somebody in or out, are you calculating for 2 cards combined or just the turn individually? Let's say for a 9-outer flush draw, are you saying 1.86 to 1, which is about 35% with 2 cards to come, or 19% with 1 card to come? I can never get an answer to this, and I really value your opinions. Well, it's kind of a complex question, isn't it? Obviously, with a flush draw, with 2 cards to come, you have a 35% chance of hitting it. But you have to calculate, if you're going for the draw, how much it's going to cost you on the turn and how much you will win total in the pot. Right. If you think the guy's got a huge hand and he can't get off of it, you might want to take it off because you might win his whole stack.
Right.
We had a raise here. I believe it was by seat 9 with ace king.
And he's hit his ace.
Yep, ace 8-6.
Now, this is interesting. Adam's got ace rag, ace 5. Let's see if he gets himself in trouble.
You know what? I don't think Adam's in the hand.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I always want Adam to be in the hand. I think that's the problem.
Gonna take it down.
Yeah, that's a big one of the problems with going for draws in no limit hold'em. Obviously, can be obviously in limit hold'em, it's only one small bet and then one big bet. So oftentimes you do get the right price to go for your draws in limit hold'em.
Right.
While no limit hold'em, let's say the pot is $200, and the guy bets $150 or $200 into the pot. If he has more money behind him, you know if you don't hit it on the turn, you're going to be faced with another big bet on the turn.
Right.
And you'll probably be forced to throw your hand away.
Right.
Which is often why people will advocate raising with their draws, because it's another way to win. You put your opponent to the test.
Three-way action here.
Check.
But obviously, yeah, I mean, okay, let's say you hit your flush 34, 35% of the time with 2 cards to come. That's kind of irrelevant if you've got to pay a separate price for both cards.
Dan's going to come out and bet here. He's got 5-3 offsuit. He's going to make a stone cold bluff. King, queen, 9 queen on the board. And he takes it down.
I mean, the way I like to look at it in no limit hold'em is one hand at one card at a time. You know, what are my odds of hitting my draw right now? What are my odds of hitting my draw right here? You know what I mean? And so forth.
Right.
Oftentimes, if a player moves all in, you can obviously go, okay, well, I'm not going to be faced with a turn bet.
Right. Well, you know, it's a mixture of, you have to take it one street at a time, though. You don't have a 35% chance of hitting your flush on the flop. You have a 19% chance, one card. But you have to figure that into your head about how much money this guy might bet on the turn in relation to what he's bet on the flop.
Right.
You figure, he's bet something on the flop. If I call, well, now the pot's going to be this size, and he's probably going to bet pot on the turn. Well, if I call this bet and the pot size bet on the turn, it's going to cost me this much.
Yeah.
Can I pay this much to hit a flush? Well, now you can calculate it in 2 cards at a time. You know what I mean? And then the amount of stack he has.
And the important thing with those draws, obviously, we've got to look at it. You're looking at it. You're calling this much.
Right.
How much money do I have left? How much money does my opponent have left? And if I hit my draw, how well hidden is my draw?
Right.
That if I hit it, will I get paid off?
Does it look like your opponent's got a very big hand now as well? Oftentimes people, especially when they're heads up, are just betting as a continuation bet, and they have nothing anyways, right?
I mean, sometimes one of my favorite draws is actually a double gutter straight draw, because it's completely hidden. Nobody knows you have it, and when you hit it, you will often get paid off to the tune of your entire stack.
Pocket kings here for seat 2. He's going to make it 20 to go. And we've got a lot of high Broadway suited cards here. 5-way action. Ace-Jack suited, Jack-9 suited, Queen-9 suited, and King-Queen.
Well, what a surprise. The flop comes out all rags.
7-3-3, a couple clubs. Queen-9 of clubs over there, flush draw on seat 4. But Williams got the overpair, and he's going to bet 75.
You have anything. There is no way you have anything, and I so
now,
want to call with this
chasing
draw, and I'm just gonna get
draws with paired boards too, Dave. That's always, it's always a little bit dangerous, especially if a flush card comes that's a 10, a Jack, Queen, King, or an Ace here, right?
Well, look at Aaron there. Aaron actually laid down the flush draw
I would have been on a flush draw, but I don't think
right
he
away.
did.
And it's obviously a pretty good laydown.
And we could see that William had the King of Clubs in his hand.
Now, speaking of flush draws, those are one. I mean, if I'm in a no-limit game against a good player,
He's got the winning hand.
I will rarely go for just a naked flush draw. Because the likelihood, first of all, flushes are never well hidden. People are always very, they're looking for it. They see 2 clubs out there, a third club's out there, they immediately assume you have a flush. So if I only have a flush draw, if I have a pair and a flush draw, obviously that's a different.
Or if you're in position and you think you can just call sometimes in position, Dave. It's very hard to just check call out of position, I think, with draws, though.
I also, see, in position, I might even raise it the flush draw and take the free card. There's a lot of different ways I can play it in position.
Seat 3 is going to raise it up to 15 here. He's got pocket 5s.
Yes.
Oh, I'm all in.
But like a flush draw out of position, I mean, it's just, more often than not, I want to pick my spots better and I'll throw it away.
Look at the seat 5 has come over the top for $40 all in. He's got Queen 7 of spades, and pocket 5s is probably going to have to call because of the pot size here.
Ooh, Eric's having some nice shrimp cocktail.
He's going to
That
call.
looks good.
We got a little race here. Queen 7 of spades against pocket 5s. Well, look, one of the 5s is out of Eric. Eric's got one of the 5s in his hand, so this is probably exactly 50-50. Wow. Joe is favored right now with 2 cards to come.
Well,
Now he's got another out, and he never comes. The river is a jack. He had overcards and a flush draw on the flop.
turned a gut shot, but Steven actually turned open-ended there, so Joe's 7 would have been no good.
Right.
He needed a queen or a spade.
Although Steven's 5 would have been no good.
Right.
5 would come on the river.
Flop actually looked pretty good for you, though.
Yeah. Fine.
Even your queen would have won it. Or your 7, actually.
Yeah, well, I just
And
called.
Steven the Magician takes it down.
Maybe my all-in would have worked.
Button moves over here to seat 9. Got about 15 minutes left in the show. So you actually were in Idaho at one time?
Yeah, Ketchum, Idaho is a great resort there in Sun Valley, actually. Great ski resort there.
Four-way action. Queen 6-6. Were you held up at a militia ranch retreat or something like that?
No, Sun Valley is actually, you can actually ask Barry Woods. Barry Woods was just there recently. It's actually like a ski resort and a summer resort. It's actually a really cool
Look at
place.
this. Williams got trip 6s. Eric came out and made a little bluff bet with ace deuce. William just called, turns a 5.
Okay, to be honest with you, I just thought the girls there were really easy, so I figured I'd go there and try to. What do you want me to say? I'm spilling water left and right. Idaho chicks. All you got to do is throw a potato at them and they get you.
I get it. I get it.
One of the funniest things, of course, my family, most of my mother's side of the family is from Maine. And people from Maine take it really personal because apparently Maine pretty much exports just as many potatoes as Idaho does to the rest of the country. And they take it very personally that Idaho is potato state, not Maine.
You must be really proud of that, huh?
Right. Yeah, they're those little red potatoes. Yeah.
Oh, red roasted potatoes?
Yeah.
I love red roasted potatoes. Those are great.
Maine potatoes.
Yeah.
And away we go.
Wow.
Limped around her.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So you come from like Swedish Maine
French
potato
Canadian.
farmers.
French Canadian.
Long
King
river.
10-10 here on the flop.
You're Maine, French Canadian, and Swedish?
Maine is French Canadian. Dan's going to come out and bet here with King 7. He's got top pair.
Maine is not French Canadian.
Yes, it is. William's got trip 10s. He's got trips again. And he's going to just check call here.
2-player.
And we're heads up here. Pot's about $160. Turn is an ace. We're heads up 10-6 against King 7. Goes check here on the turn. And the river's a 10. And William's got trip 10s. But Dan's got a full house. Do you really overbet here if you're William?
Trip 10s, how about quad 10s?
That's what I meant. Quad 10s. Do you overbet here if you're William?
I think you've got to. Although the thing is, though, is you can't beat. Remember, the king can't beat the ace. The ace kind of might be an action killer there.
10 can't beat the board.
Pocket aces and ace 10.
See how much he's going to come out and bet here.
100.
Bet's
Now, I
100.
got to be. I mean, you're looking at William here. I mean, you're looking at Dan. Dan's got to look at. Go. Wait a second. This guy is betting. He bet. I mean, he called my bet. What might he have? That he would actually bet $100 in on the river. You know?
Right.
I mean, if he had Queen Jack and he made the straight on the turn, do you really think he'd be betting it right now in the river? Probably not. I mean, this guy's got to have purely nothing, or he's got to either have a 10 or an ace, or a king, so you're basically drawing for a chop. I mean, because what did he call my flop bet with? And do you really want to put $100 in there to chop the pot? Maybe. At best.
Well, he's thinking about it. Again, he can't even beat the ace. And he's going to make the call here,
Yeah.
Dave. And William hasn't really bluffed at all night long. So Dan might have missed this case from playing the player here on this one.
I mean, it's a tough laydown, obviously. He's got,
Yeah.
he's pretty much got the third nut hand here. Right? What does he have? Third nut. Obviously, any 10 would be the nuts. Ace is full.
Yeah,
Any ace.
absolutely. I thank God I folded.
Look at that smile.
Look at it. Just look at it. Once again, we're live at the bike here, folks. I'm David Tuckman, here with Bart Hanson. Politically incorrect, keeping it real.
Butt moves over here to seat 2. Ace
So,
king here.
Are you a big fan of Maine potatoes?
I actually like the Idaho potatoes better.
Do you?
I like it and I hate
It's
it.
good to know. Riveting conversation we're
Wrapped
having here.
around. Did you ever eat a potato, a baked potato, with the skin on it, though? We used to do that with Maine potatoes all the time.
Of course.
You do? Okay.
You don't eat. Of course, I eat the skin all the time.
7-way action.
Supposedly, the skin causes cancer.
I thought the skin was good for you.
10-5
10-5 deuce here, Rainbow.
Every 5 years, they change their mind.
Queen 10 here for...
1 year it's good for you. The next year it causes cancer.
well, Dan's got top pair. And he's going to come out and bet with top pair like he has from
I'm into
every
that.
position. Seat 7's going to call. Queen 10. 10-5 deuce on the flop. And again, Joe just limped in with ace-king. No one's really raising with their big hands pre-flop. But a few people have called ace-8 of spades calls. Aaron. And seat 2 is called here with, looks like 10-6. So 3 people have 10s here. The turn's at 3. And it gets checked over to Sean, and he's going to bet. He bets 40.
And Sean's kicker will play in this case. Actually, all the kickers are going to play, but Sean's got the best kicker.
Yeah, Steven and Joe are not in the hand.
Yeah, William's got...
William folds.
William folded, okay.
And everyone's going to fold. There you go.
And seat number 7, there's Sean, in that bright yellow shirt, takes it down. Is that like the polo t-shirt?
I don't even know why I called that.
Yeah, polo.
But it's a polo t-shirt. I always thought they were like polo, the collared shirts.
It's like a ribbed crew shirt.
Oh, kind of cool.
Such a bad call.
Button moves over here to seat 3.
So when are we going to put our Super Bowl predictions out down the line?
At the end of
Next
the week?
week?
Yeah, at the end of next week, right?
And the next week?
There's
Okay.
going to be all kinds of,
And before I had ace
different things are going to change. I think they have a bye week again this week, right? I thought they were going to put an end to that a couple years ago.
Yeah, no, it's 2 weeks away.
God, so stupid.
You know, it's for the players, actually. The players have so many things to do between, like, family tickets and stuff like that.
Media day.
Yeah, media day,
Yeah.
family, all that stuff. They say it takes them like 3 or 4 days just to get everything together.
15.
Yeah, exactly. Get out of jail day.
Limped around here. Seat 5's going to come out and bet with 10-3. He's got top pair. And Sean is going to call with King Jack.
Well, he's got the jack of clubs.
Eric has called with 8-10, and we've got 3-way action here.
3-way action, the way it
Turns
should
a
be.
king. Well, there it is. Wow.
It's easy to play this game when you can see the future.
Joe checks, and Sean's going to bet. Deanna's not in the hand. Now Eric's going to fold.
Dock it.
Got about 10 minutes left in tonight's show. You can catch us tomorrow night, starting at 7 o'clock Pacific time.
Barry Woods home game.
Amazing. You know, Barry Woods actually, my wife's a masseuse.
Yeah.
I think she's actually going to, Barry Woods is going to hire her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in-home massage
Really?
for Barry Woods and his wife.
Interesting. Where does Barry Woods live?
I don't know, somewhere like West Hills or Woodland Hills. I don't know, somewhere in L.A. I have no
Yeah.
idea. I don't want to give out his exact address online.
Button moves over here to seat number 6. King Queen, seat 5.
He was joking around with me, though. He said, how much extra for a happy ending?
Heads up here, pocket 5s against King Queen. King 9 Jack, pretty good for King Queen here, Joe. He's going to come out and bet. That's 20.
Now, pocket 5s, Dan's got a 5 of hearts in his hand, so there's a backdoor heart draw.
Well, you're really stretching here, aren't you? And seat 5's going to take it
Joseph
down.
finally wins a pot.
Got time for a few more hands. So Wednesday, of course, is our special $25.50, $3,000 minimum unrestricted mind game.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Wednesday, if you can't miss our Wednesday, our big game, which is a $25.50 no limit hold'em game.
Yeah.
Blinds are $25.50. The minimum buy-in is $3,000. Unrestricted maximum buy-in. Game gets huge. Got an email here from Suzanne and Jake Mosser.
Susan.
Susan, sorry. Man.
Lived around. I should know that she's my aunt.
Oh, is it?
Jack 6, yeah. Did you read the email? Oh, you didn't read the email. Oh, you didn't even know. I see.
How do I know? It says, hi, Bart.
Oh.
Your vote at Bluff Magazine just cost me $29.95 as I subscribe. See ya. A. Susan. I'm supposed to know that's Aunt Susan.
That's one of my French-Canadian side. We had a little home game around New Year's Eve that we played. Steven's going to bet here with Queen 10.
Canadian
He's gonna take it
wannabes
down.
in Maine.
Holy smokes. Banking wonders never cease.
I don't know what is exactly a Canadian wannabe, anyways.
I'm not sure. You can call them French Canadians.
Yeah, you know, the family stems from Quebec originally. Anywhere kind of Augusta and north are filled with French Canadian, former paper log communities, paper mill communities. Presque Isle and Millinocket and Madawaska.
Well, I know
Maine.
Quebec wants their own country. Does Maine want their own country now too? You and Quebec can go all in one.
There we go. $15 raise here. Ace Jack of clubs, seat 2.
You guys can export potatoes and lobster. You'll be fine.
Four-way action, $60 pot. And look at that, seat 2's flopped the nut flush. A second time, club, second time tonight. And he raised it pre-flop.
Now, 2 pair. This is interesting. If you play it fast, you got 2 pair in seat 7. Wonder what's going to happen.
2 people have 2 pair.
Wow.
And Joe's going to play it fast. He's going to bet 50 with bottom 2 pair. Sean also has 2 pair, but William flopped the nuts.
Now, if you raise this here,
let's see what William's going to do.
this is one of those times you don't really want to slow play it. If you slow play it, you might get a card out there that kills your action.
Yeah, interesting. Sean and Joe have 2 outs because they share each other's cards.
Yep.
And he just calls. He is going to slow play it. The turn's a 6. And look at this. Anybody with a 5 would have a straight
And that's an
now.
action killer
Yeah.
right there. Definitely an action
Why
killer.
not put money in there?
Eric is out of the hand.
He
If you
checks
get a-
again.
If
Well,
you get a bet and a call and you have the nuts, why not move some money in there?
well,
Now-
now Joe is going to move all in. And the funny thing here for Sean is that, you know, he's got more money and William has him covered behind him. I mean, the action's over to Sean now. I mean, we're talking about and look at this. He's going to call, and the pot now is about $400, $100 to call. What is William going to do?
once again, we look stupid.
Well, he's got $100 behind. I mean, do you figure you just put it all in now? The guy's got $100 behind.
Not even a question.
Why would you just slow play here on the side? It doesn't make any sense.
Makes no sense whatsoever.
He's just going to call the side, and now he's just going to bet all in on the river when a card could kill all the action, right? What if a club comes on the river here?
You think about it. Sean has already put $100 in there.
Right.
He's not going anywhere. If you
Well, the river's a 10, so I guess William's just going to move all in now?
All in.
Well, actually, you know what? William was in position against Sean. He was in position, and
Yeah,
now
but-
he's going to move all in.
right, but at that point though, why not get the money in there? If another club comes out, or if the board pairs, like
Yeah.
a 7 comes out, or a 6 comes out, or a 5 comes
Well,
out.
you know, this is funny. He's going to get all the money here anyways, but if you sit back and look at it, if you're Sean, why on earth would William move all in on the side on a dry side pot unless he had 3-4 beat there on the river? Can you safely throw your hand away if you're 3-4 there?
What can 3-4 beat?
I mean, the guy's moving all in on the side. He
Right.
called the flop. He was the pre-flop raiser. He called the turn. You check to him on the side on the river, and he moves all in. What do you think he's doing, moving all in? Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
And William takes down about a $600 pot there. Unbelievable.
And I still maintain that slow playing that hand was incorrect. I still would have liked to get all the money in there because if a club comes off on a turn, really in trouble.
And Dave, this is going to be the last hand of the night.
This is it, huh?
Thanks for everybody for joining us.
Button in seat 7.
No, never. I didn't put you on it. I put you on ace jack, but not clubs. That was ridiculous. Didn't I call the flop ace jack jack? Sure,
He put him.
that's what you
He
had?
put him on ace jack, but not clubs, Dave. Someone put him on. I guess. I love it sometimes what these guys say at the table.
Get a raise here from seat 4. That's Aaron.
Yeah.
He's got 10. No, pocket 9s. And 7. Sean is going to call with 6s, and Charles is going to call with Queen 10 suited.
So 4-way action here. $80 pot. Here we go. Wow. 2 people have overpairs, 6s and 9s.
That's a nice flop for 6s. You got an overpair with a gut shot straight draw.
Well, Aaron's going to continue to bet here with his overpaired 9s, which are the best hand right now.
Now Sean just lost his buy-in before. You wonder if Sean's going to go broke here again.
He's going to make the call, it looks like.
Another time. Now in this case, I still would advocate why not raise it if you think your hand is good. If you don't think your hand is good, then get rid of it.
Turns at 3, and there's the straight for 6s.
But you're not going to get any action anyway.
Oh, Aaron's going to move all in. Dave, you've been wrong time and time again.
Oh, God.
Wow. Oh, and the river's a 6, and they're going to chop it up. A straight plays on the board. What a way to end the night. What a card for Sean. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I just
2
can't
more
believe
6s left in the deck? I mean, wow.
when it comes out deuce, 3, 4, 5 there, okay, you don't put your opponent on pocket sixes, but any ace beats you here. You can't beat an ace. Any ace.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Another night of Live at the Bike Down. And it's been a pleasure, as always, Dave Tucker.
Always.
Tomorrow night, please join us for a little $300 to $500 no-limit hold'em. Again, Barry Woods' buddies, I guess.
Yes.
And then on Wednesday, we'll play $25.50 no-limit with a $3,000 minimum buy-in. So for everyone here in the booth and for Dave Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.